Welcome to the CatFiveBoys podcast. I'm your host, Matt. I always get it fucking confused, but I'm your host, Matt, and I'm here with my co-hosts who are going to introduce themselves along with our guest today. Go ahead, George. You can start, and then go Maddie, and then Jimmy. Go ahead and introduce yourself. But start with George. Go ahead.
Hey everybody, I'm George. I'm the one who makes fun of Maddie all the time. That guy, I bully him.
All right, Maddie.
Hey guys, it's Matty. I let George bully me to give him a sense of power and manhood.
Maddie with the fatty.
All right, Jimmy. Go ahead, man.
What's good, everybody? This is Jimmy, bro. I joined the podcast because these guys have been begging me to join for like the last 3 weeks, so here I am.
On our knees. On our knees. All right. Well, Jimmy is our very first guest, our very first guest in this show. Bro, I'm hearing an echo from your mic, so just whenever you're not talking, just mute Jimmy. But either way, so our very first guest being Jimmy here. We have a couple of disagreements when it comes to relationships, which is what we are going to kind of focus the show on with him. George is going to, well, George and Maddie, if you guys disagree as well with me or with Jimmy, you guys can also step in and start saying some stuff or whatever, whatever your disagreements are. You want to add something to the conversation, obviously.
I want to say something though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Try to mediate it. You need to stop and let people talk. You like to interrupt them in the middle of them talking. You need to stop.
Sir, yes, sir.
All right, there you go. That's all.
All right, cool. Well, Jimmy, I know that you have some disagreements with me, man. Go ahead and hit me with one of those disagreements, bro.
A disagreement with you. Let me see. There's a lot of them, bro.
There is.
Alright, guys, help me out here because my mind is.
All right, well, okay, I guess.
Let's go to relationships.
Yeah, we're doing relationships. One of the things.
Because it's so much, so it's too much, bro. It's hard to think when it's just so many things we disagree on, bro.
No, it is a lot of things to disagree on. George, you have anything that you might think that you're like you really want to touch on?
Say something
Go ahead, Maddie.
that a man should not talk to his woman about his problems.
You want to start with that one?
We could do that.
All right, cool. All right, well, I mean, you want to give your position first? You want me to give mine?
You go first, bro.
All right. So, I don't believe that men. This is a should claim, right? I don't believe that men should speak to their women about their emotions or open up emotionally. Yo, Jimmy, mute your mic whenever you're not talking, bro. That's bad. But anyways, I don't believe that men should open up about their emotions to their women. Again, generally, that's my position. Go ahead, Jimmy.
So, can you elaborate exactly why, like, can you elaborate why it's, how can I say it? Is it, give me the give me 3 reasons why, I guess, you kind of feel like you can't open up to a woman at all about your problems. Give me
Okay,
3 valid reasons.
so I would say, Jimmy, mute yourself. That's what I would say first. Uh, but regardless, so what I would say is number one, I suppose the main reason I would give, which I should have done this when I was giving my position, but fuck, I forgot. But either way, so the number one reason I would say men should not. Again, it's not that you can't. I'm not making the claim that you cannot speak about your emotions to your woman. I'm sure there's a lot of men whom that works for, but I would say generally you should not, simply because number one, men are the problem solvers in relationships most of the time. Now, as a man, this is going to our biological imperative. We are the ones who solve issues. We are the ones who put food on the table. We are the ones who bring home resources in order for our family to be able to survive, right? We're the ones who solve problems. That's number one. Number two, men have to be, or rather should be, stoic in their personality when it comes to life, meaning if things are going on in life, you're having problems, or there's tough times, or whatever the case may be. You got to be stoic in that regard. You got to understand that life is not going to be easy. Life's going to be hard. Life's going to be tough. You got to get through it, bro. The old adage goes, be a man. I think being a man, a big portion of that is being stoic, is not letting your emotions get the best of you, is not having or feeling the need to speak on your emotions, or whatever the case may be, to your partner, or to anybody in general. That goes to a therapist, or needing a friend to talk to, or whatever the case may be. That's another thing. You know, for me, women are very emotional as well, in comparison to men. Um, I think another reason is, for the majority of the cases, I think it's better off that you just don't put that stress that you have on your woman. You know what I mean? I think you're the one who has to carry that stress. You're the one who should be carrying the stress of not only yourself, but your woman as well, and moving on and figuring out solutions to those things. And if you can't find solutions to the things, assisting her to move on, or also moving on yourself. So I would say those are three reasons why um, men should, I'm not saying they can't, but should not open up emotionally to their women.
All right. So what's the three again? Because I forgot them. So I know you
This
said to not be stoic, right? And the first one was it? What was it that you said?
I said because men are the ones that are. Bro, I'm gonna have to mute this guy, bro.
Hello, where'd you go, bro? Did you leave?
No, I was saying that.
Started.
So basically, I think that men are the ones who are the providers. We're the ones who bring home resources. We're the ones who collect resources and all that. And then women are the ones that make and turn those resources into things that will nurture the family, that will nurture the home, and so on, and will create an environment within the home that is pleasant, I suppose. Um, Men are the ones who should carry the burden of all the stress and all the problems and whatnot, and solve those things.
Okay. So I see where you stand. I've heard this for the last 3 days, bro. I'm still in this belief, right? So with the whole thing of you saying that yes, men are providers, I agree with you there, and yes, women are the ones that look after the household, take care of the children, do the housings. You know, the backbone of the family, right? You see, I agree with you on both things, but this is where it comes in where, as a man, you will need help the same way you would help her in certain areas, right? She'll need help around the house, right? Because she can't really figure everything in the house. She can't figure out, maybe a couple things, and you could help her out in a certain area, right? It could be something simple. It could be something difficult. It could be like putting a frame up on a wall. Maybe she can't do it. Maybe she's not tall enough, right? I feel like that shouldn't. It's the same way with a man. You will not have everything figured out in life, and it's just that it's a sad truth. Like, yes, I can agree with you. You should be stoic about what comes towards your way, right? You shouldn't let the emotions get the best out of you. I stand with you there, right? But as a man, with the pressure that we have today, and yes, it is pressure at the end of the day because you are taking care of a whole family, not just your wife or your significant other, but kids as well, right? So you got to worry about food on the table. You got to worry about so many things in your life, right? So things are bound to go south eventually. You're not always going to be 100. And I'm not telling you, it's when I tell you not 100%, I don't also mean like 80% because at the end of the day, like you said, we are men. We need to shake it off. We need to keep it going because we don't got time to stress about stupid things. And I stand with you there as well. But when things go south, where a man's mental health is a problem, because life hits, bro. You got me? And when life hits, I think the person you need to turn to is your wife. Why your wife? Because, like I said, you don't have everything figured out. Sometimes there's lingering issues in your minds. There's battles in your mind, right? Mental health is a big issue today amongst men, where men don't speak, and it's proven. Men do not speak. They don't like speaking on weakness because society has this thing on them where if you speak about your issues, if you cry, it's a problem. You're not a man. Shake it off. Keep it moving, right? And I don't believe that's how it is because I think being vulnerable is part of being a man. If you can't if you can't put your pride to the side, right, and just say, hey, you know what? I need help. I don't have it figured out. I can't solve this issue. Right? You come to your wife and you tell her, hey, look, help me out with this. Your wife is not gonna think this guy is weak. Why are you coming to me? You're supposed to have everything figured out. If you have a loving wife and you know you chose the right woman for you or girlfriend, whatever it is, right? If you can't go to her for those things and you expect her to act a certain way, I feel like you found the wrong person, right? In my example, I go to my wife when I feel down. And I'm not saying just like I had a bad day and my manager yelled at me or Matthew at work was being annoying, he called me the B word. I'm not gonna go to her over stupid things. I'm saying when it really goes downhill and I'm really in this mode where I can't shake it off, I need help. And I will vent out to my significant other and I will tell them, hey look, I need help. I can't I'm dealing with this, I'm dealing with that. Can you please help me? Just venting to her. Sometimes you need to talk to people. You can't just let it all bottle up because that's when things happen. That's when people off themselves. That's when these things go downhill, right? And I think as men, we need to be advocates for those type of situations where men don't speak, and we need to normalize that. It's not You're not weak for talking. You're not weak for speaking up. You're not weak. You're not weak for being vulnerable, and that's where I stand on that, bro.
I would say you are weak for being vulnerable. I would say you are weak for needing. I think if you need and in your head you need somebody to speak to about certain problems that you have, I think that is actually weakness right there. Um, yeah, it's not something that would give your woman confidence within you at all. I don't believe that's even the case. So a couple of things that you, I guess that you made premises were that she's there to help you. You know what I mean? She's there to help you, so you should go to her in order for her to help you. I don't think that. I think we have two different definitions as to what she help, like what you mean by helper. You know what I mean? For me, the woman is a helper in the sense that she is the one who takes away all the all the extra work or all the extra things that you would normally have to do alone. She takes those things away and frees you up so that you're able to do the rest of the stuff that will ensure that you bring in, not only you bring in enough home to the table, but you also bring more so to the table. You're able to focus yourself completely on your work or your ability to bring resources back. You can increase that. That's what she's there to help you with. I don't think that men need somebody who can help in the sense of somebody to talk to. I think if you feel like you need somebody to talk to, that in and of itself, I feel like is the manipulation and the brainwashing that today's society has gone with. Because the interesting thing is that the moment that we started, because I would say that pretty recently has been when we've started to speak more about men's mental health. Would you agree with that? It's been like more of a recent thing that we've been doing rather than like.
Honestly, people don't care about, like, let's be honest here, right? Everything is about, in reality today, yes, men are spoken of, right? Yes, men's mental health and stuff, but we really emphasize as a society, we emphasize heavy on women empowerment, feminism. All this is really the emphasis of it's of everything.
Generally today we have.
Yeah, and I believe that's actually how can I say it? It's actually because there's been an awareness because of, like I've said, there's been situations of people off in it, right? You can't deny the numbers. You can't deny the testimonials from people where they speak about, he didn't speak. I didn't know what was going on. I thought he was happy, right? Like it's the same concept where I thought he was happy. I never saw this coming, right? What happens there? There's a disconnect. The woman didn't know that this man was going through a certain thing. Who else would you rather be aware of your certain situation in your mind of your battle than your significant other? Why let it get to the point of that situation where somebody just self deletes, right? Why would you let it get there? And that's kind of like where I stand on that. It's all communication. right? You don't want to be surprised by somebody. Hey, look, this happened, right? Again, I am not telling you, and I'm not telling you this is somebody's fault or somebody else's fault, right? But definitely seeking help is very important because sometimes you don't have, like I said, not everybody has the same, is in the same mental state as others. Some people are mentally stronger than other people, and that's acceptable, right? Everybody has a different mind, right? So what's big to you is not big to me. So where I go from there is you cannot you cannot say a man opening up to his woman or his girlfriend, whatever you want to call it, your boyfriend, it's not weak. You know, it's not weak because, like I said, people go through stuff on a daily, right? As a man, yes, you are taught, and we are actually. I agree with on a couple things that you said. As a man, we are called to provide, and we are called to actually have solutions for your family, right? Not just your wife, your family. You're supposed to have solutions. I'm with you on that. But it's also, you can get overwhelmed. Sometimes there's a lot of things going on in your life. You get me? You know, things happen. Deaths happen in the family. You know, only God knows what's going on in your life. And sometimes things get overwhelming. And who else would you rather go to? You're not gonna go to a therapist, okay? Because they're just gonna sit there. They don't know you. They don't know who you are. The person that knows you the most is a person you live with and you wake up to every day of your life. And who was better to open up to than that person? You got me?
Yeah, but that again, that's going to the idea that you must open up to somebody. I don't believe that a man must open up to somebody because he's having, sad thoughts or mute yourself, bro. Yeah, but yeah, because he's having sad thoughts or because he's overwhelmed or whatever the case may be. Men have been overwhelmed for the past 100 years, for more so than that. But have we've been tracking the numbers for the past 100 years, and again, coincidentally, the moments in which, or the times in history in which we've been talking about and bringing awareness to men's mental health the most is coincidentally when men delete themselves a lot more. I mean, men are deleting themselves a lot more today than they have in the last 100 years. And I would even go as far to say more than that. Since we've been tracking the numbers back in the 1700s, men have not been deleting themselves in the numbers we've been seeing like today, even though there is this deletion, men's mental health awareness that we've been seeing a lot more today. Now, will anybody really give a shit about men's mental health? No, they will not. Nobody will care about men's mental health because a man is looked towards to provide. You know what I'm saying? And minus you having anybody in your life who would listen to you, nobody would give a fuck about what you got to say. And I would even go as far as to say that most people in your life who you believe care about what you would have to say probably don't give a shit. They're just there to listen to you because they don't want to make you feel bad. Now, granted, your wife, she most certainly might, and I wouldn't say she wouldn't care. But the whole idea is you bring her as much stability and as much peace as possible, or in the sense of as much calmness as possible, that she doesn't have to worry about life, so that the things that she has to actually worry about, she can worry about those things. Now, am I saying that she's not going to have a single thing to do in the relationship? Of course not. But you worrying about whatever it is you got to worry about is freeing her up to take care of those other things. For example, taking the kids to school, and we talked about this as well. Taking the kids to school, making sure they got their lunch, making sure the house is clean, making sure the clothes are clean and washed and whatnot, making sure all these different things, so that you are freed up enough to go to work your ass off, maybe even look for a better job or go to school so you can get a better job in the future so that you can bring more resources home. You coming home to your wife and saying, babe, I'm feeling this type of way. I'm feeling, sad, or I'm feeling overwhelmed, or whatever the case, because the bills are piling up, or because of this, that, and the third. She's looking at you and as much as women are not going to say this to your face, this is what and I'm telling you this because, again, for the history of the human race, this is how it's always been. Women look to men for solutions. Women look to men for stability. Women look to men to provide. The moment that you provide, the only thing you're providing to her at that moment in time is shaky ground. Is saying, oh, I'm feeling so bad about our current financial situation, or I'm very overwhelmed with work right now. It's like, she's going to look at you, and she could very well listen to what you're saying, and she could very well care about what you're saying. But what really is going to be going down in the back of her head is, are we okay? Are we gonna be okay? And you're gonna be unstabilizing her brain and her mind with your overwhelmingness, um, because again, you just need somebody to talk to. It's like, again, the idea that men need somebody to talk to is, in my opinion, that's the weakness right there in men today. We have become more like women in today's society, which is why we are, as men, we are so fucked today. We have moved towards becoming more like women. What do women do? They talk about their problems. They complain. They cry. These type of emotional things. Men didn't do these things. Men didn't come home to their wives and complain about their day or complain. They fucking got up to go to work because they knew they had to. They brought the food back home when it was time to come home. Their wives gave them a massage. They drank a beer and they fucking got up the next day and did the same shit. It's not. It wasn't rocket science. It wasn't brain surgery about this shit. It was just regular life for men. We've been changing this shit recently, ever since women have been, boss babes and independent women and this, that, and the third, where women have become more like men. Now men are becoming more like women. And coincidentally, the the self-deletion rates for men are going higher. It's just interesting to me. It really is. Women have their roles in relationships. Men have their roles in relationships. Your role is not to fucking complain. Your role is to provide. Be the provider. That goes beyond like money and food and clothes and whatnot. It goes beyond the material. It goes into the emotional. Make sure you provide her with stability in her brain as well as stability in her house. You know what I'm saying? Provide her with that stability. The way you do that is by not fucking complaining to her. That's it.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you explain to me what is the point of your girl here? Like, what is duty?
Again, in a relationship, the purpose that you
No,
get
not in
into.
a relationship. Your girl, you and your girl. Like, what do you expect out of her if you don't, if you can't depend on her to hear you out? Like, why are you with her?
Well, number one, I want to have children in the future, so that's like the main thing. To getting into a relationship, men and women get together to make babies. That's why I have my girl. That's the main reason, right? That's the first thing. Now, above that, you obviously, you know, grow feelings, which is what humans have. We have feelings, and we grow to love the person that we're with, and we love that person. My girl makes my life easier in the ways that I had already listed. She cooks, she cleans, she makes sure that my house is in order so that I can go out, make the money I have to, figure out new ways to make money, bust my ass however I need to bring back food and stability to her, so that then she can make that stability, those resources, and turn it into nurture. That's the whole point. Now, she's not. I don't understand if what you're trying to say is that she's here to hear me out, to hear my problems out. I would reject that. I don't think that she's there for that. I mean, I don't even know why you would need to. You know what I'm saying? Tough things go on in life. Sure, that's fine. As a man, and this is the harsh truth, you deal with it and you move on. You don't put these problems on your family, especially the women in your family. And if when you have kids, you come home and your kids are seeing you cry in like with your wife or some shit, and your kids are seeing you complain and hearing you complain, because kids are sneaky. They can hear shit even when you're talking behind closed doors. They're hearing you complain and shit. Your kids are also going to feel uneasy about your current situation, about their dad's stability or whatever the case may be. They're going to be you know um they're going to be uneasy about that shit too. And I'd rather, like, I would say it's better that you, like, act like everything's cool with you, even though there might be something going on. Act like everything's cool in front of your family so you don't make them feel uneasy, and deal with it yourself, bro. That's what I would
Bro,
say.
bro, Matthew, acting like, so you're telling me just put a mask, like just put a front, right, and just act like nothing is going on in your life, right, and just keep it moving. But when it really goes super south, right, That's where it just hits the fan, and nobody knew about what was going on in your life. Just call it a day, right? It is what it is, right? As I personally disagree with you on that, bro. It's like you can't just say like, okay, go through your issues, right? You deal with it. You're just a provider. Shake it off, keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? The day goes on. That's not how that works, bro. I believe you guys both offer emotional support to each other. Okay? She's gonna have a bad day. He's gonna have a bad day. You get me? Why is it that a woman can vent to a man, but a man can't vent to a woman? That makes no sense in my mind, bro. It's like why put that burden solely on one person? When you put a big like think about it. And not to like put men on like this what's the word pedestal, but the things that men go through on the daily, it's a lot. It's a lot on somebody's plate. You might say that's your job. Well, yes, it's your job, right? But it's not an easy job. It's not an easy task. You're asking for a man to be a provider, okay? You're asking for a man to be emotional support, a good listener, because let's say you came home from work and you had a bad day, you gotta come home and listen to your lady. She had a bad day. Women tend to be more emotional. You gotta listen to her. You gotta be a good listener. You gotta come home, play with the kids. You gotta do all these things, right? As a man. And that's exactly the issue. Men have to go, men are put on this pedestal in life that men, remember, women are taught that, men are supposed to be a certain way towards them. But men are never taught how women should act towards a man. It's always about men treating women. It's never about women treating men. You get what I'm saying? And it's like, we can't just say like, oh, just do your job, do your task, just keep it moving, bro. Because once you do that, bro, there's a total disconnect. There's a miscommunication there. There's no communication about how you feel. Your woman doesn't know how she feels. Your lady doesn't know how she feels. You get me? And let's even we can get even more broad and say, because you made a comment saying that nobody should know about what you're going through, and that's totally incorrect. You need to open up to somebody, and you need to explain to somebody because maybe this person can help you out in whatever situation you're going through. Sometimes you need words of encouragement. Sometimes not everything is about solutions, because sometimes yes, you might figure it out on your own, but sometimes you need somebody to pick you up. Words have power, and I truly believe in that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I feel like I can't do something. I'm not able to. Let me give you an example. Maybe I'm having an interview and I don't feel so comfortable about it, and I come to my girl and I'm like, "Yo, I don't feel prepared. I don't feel like I'm able to do this. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it fine, like correctly." She can give me words of encouragement, because sometimes, like I said, the smallest thing is your mind. The mind is powerful, bro. And once your mind goes at 1,000, like that's a problem. For even for something small, it's a problem. And it's nice to talk to somebody about that. Yo, my interview. I'm stressing my interview. It's been 3 days and I can't stop thinking about it and I'm nervous. It's nice to go to your lady about words of encouragement, bro. You got me? Women need to give you emotional support. And also want to add, you say like your problems basically are your problems. I think that's not factual. Because once somebody gets together in a relationship, right, you guys become one,
Okay,
right?
well, before we get into that, let me ask you a question. Why do men need, or why would men need to talk about their problems to their lady? Why would they need
Uh,
that?
why would men need to talk to their problems to like about their problems or her problems?
No, because you said that we need somebody to talk to so they can listen to us and whatnot. Why do we need that? What would you say we
Like
need
I
that for?
like I said, sometimes like I agree with you in this sense. Men are meant to find solutions in life for their families. I'm with you on that, right? But sometimes you're gonna have a bad moment. Not every as a man, we're all men here, right? Well, I hope so, right? We're all men here. Um, we've all had those moments where we feel down, and it doesn't sometimes just last. I don't know about you guys, but for me, sometimes I'm down for a while. Sometimes it's not a simple shake it off and keep it moving, because once I do that, it starts progressively getting worse, right? So once my mental health is suffering, which is easy to say, shake it off and go to work. But you go to work and you go about your day, but you always go back to the same thing. You're always gonna come back to your thoughts. You're always gonna come back to your bed. It's the same concept. You're gonna come home with the same issues. They're not gonna delete, right? Sometimes you need words of encouragement. Sometimes you need your lady to say, "You got this." Keep doing this. Maybe you should switch this up. Women can give advice. Women are not useless. Women are smart, just like men, right? Women can give you good advice that comes from a good place. You know, not everything has to be, I got it all figured out. I think as men, we need to put our egos to the side because men tend to be very egotistic in every aspect in reality. We're very competitive. We're egotistic. You know, each other. We compare each other to men all the time, right? But we don't all got it figured out, bro. Sometimes people got to figure. A guy has it figured out. My neighbor maybe has it better than me, right? It's but you got to realize, bro, we don't have it all figured out like other people, right? And we can't just sit here and act like everything is okay when it's not. We need to. We need to. How can I say it? We need somebody to confide in, right? And I would
Yeah, but
think
again,
somebody to confide in will be your
why,
lady.
bro? Why would you need that?
Because, like I said, sometimes it's hard to why stay in a dark place for a long time? It doesn't make any sense. That at that point, you're how can I say it? You're basically you're retracting. You're not advancing. You're in a circle. You're in a loop, right? And once you're in a loop, you're going nowhere in life. Sometimes those holes can take you a lot deeper than what you imagined. You get me? I don't want to sound too exaggerated, but it's really how it is. That's how the mind works. You got me? You're in a little hole, and next thing you know, your mind took you somewhere else. You need words of encouragement,
Yeah,
bro.
you
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 need
said
somebody to
you
tell
said
you,
life. You said that's a powerful thing. The mind's a powerful thing, right?
yeah,
The idea that you need somebody to talk to and you need words of encouragement, all this bullshit. That's the type of shit that makes people think that their problems are bigger than what they are, therefore needing this words of encouragement. They're back in the history of the human race, bro. Motherfuckers were tearing each other apart with their bare hands. They come home to their
bro.
wives and
First
they're
of all,
not fucking
everybody,
talking
if you
about
want
that
to talk
shit.
about like times back then, bro, things were different, bro.
Yeah, things were different. Men did not fucking
Things were
have to
completely
confide in their
different. These
women with
men,
their fucking feelings, bro.
the way they lived is completely different to now, bro.
Yeah,
We live in a city
would you
now. We
say
live.
would you say that it's harder to live today than it was back then?
I'm sure there's differences.
No,
I'm not
but
gonna say
okay.
it's easier
But
or
would
harder.
you
No, I'm
say
not. I
okay?
can't say that. I'm not gonna compare different situations because I could say, yo, now, like back then it was hunting. Back then I had to go and get some fruits. I had to do this. I had to now you're giving 8 hours of work. Now
Yeah, no.
you're
Now you go to fucking Walmart and buy your fucking meat and your cheese and shit over there,
yeah,
bro.
but now I gotta work my ass off,
Bro,
right, to earn an amount of money.
you work in a building that's air conditioned with a fucking chair and a computer, bro. Like you're working in conditions that people back in that time would have fucking killed to work in. They worked in fucking fields that were probably hot as shit most of the year, and then if not, it's cold as shit a lot of the
Yeah,
year.
but you see, that's the thing. You can't compare those situations because maybe things are beneficial for that person and not beneficial for these people.
But they
I
didn't have a
believe there's
choice,
a
bro.
benefit.
They didn't have no choice.
No, I know, but there's a benefit to being outside and doing all these things. When you're behind a desk working on your ass, you're getting fat. You're not really if you're not moving, you're getting fat.
I
Right? So
bet.
there's advantages and disadvantages in different eras, you know? You
I
can't
bet
just
they
say
had office jobs over there in that time too, and
no,
office
I don't know. I
jobs.
don't know about all that. I didn't live in that time, so I can't tell you
Well,
that.
I mean, you
But
telling me they didn't have no office jobs in the 1920s and 1930s? They had
oh,
no
if you're
office jobs.
talking about 1920s, what I'm hearing,
I'm
I'm
not talking
thinking
about
you're
caveman
talking
shit.
about
I'm not talking about no Flintstones. I'm talking about 1920s, 1930s. Even around that time, they had office jobs. They had desk jobs, and those motherfucking desks were not as nice as your desk is right now. The chairs were not as nice. There was no air conditioning. The fucking heater systems that they had were probably
yes,
shit.
but it's a different time,
Bro,
bro.
I
It's a
understand
different
it's a
time.
different time. What I'm trying to explain is that this different time was a lot more difficult for these men than it is today. It is completely, in almost every sense of the word you can imagine, easier today for a man to live in the sense of comfort than it was back then. And the one thing they weren't
So
doing
you
back
think
then, bro, is going home to their fucking women and talking about it was really hard today. My ass hurts because I was in a fucking wooden chair with no
But
cushion.
you see, that's the disconnect we have here, bro. I'm not telling you it's something just about like I told you. It's not about just having a bad day, okay? Bro, I have bad days 5 times out of 7, 5 days out of 7, 5 times out of 7 days, bro. You feel me? It's just like like I said, bro. Your mind is powerful, right? Sometimes you can have a bad day. You can have 10 consecutive bad days, but maybe it was something minimal. I don't think it should be a thing where like it's alarming and you should be like, oh my God, bro, I've had ten bad days in a row. My life is over. My mental health is deteriorating. I'm not telling you that. But sometimes your mind does take you to a dark place, which is deeper than that, right? And I think at that moment, you need to really self reflect and say, hey, look, I need help. Let me turn to the person that I am going to be with for the rest of my life. Maybe not be too extreme. Maybe my girlfriends, right? My girlfriend. She can help me. She can give me advice. You get me? Advice is great, bro. You know, people are smart. People can give you better. Like I said, men don't have it figured out all the time. You know what I'm saying? And it's just how it is. You're not. It's for me the way you're making it sound. It's an ego thing, right? It's kind of like, oh man, men can't speak, right?
No, no,
Like, no, bro.
it's not an ego thing at all. It's a
I think it's
utility
an ego
thing.
thing, bro.
Oh, I understand you think that, but I'm telling you it's not that. It's a utility thing. So what it is bringing stability to the home is a man's job. To where
But that's completely okay.
but that's
You see,
but
that's a
that's what that is.
task, though.
That's the stability of a home, bro. When you're coming home to your wife and you're telling her that you're feeling these type of ways because you're overwhelmed because of the bills or because of X, Y, or Z or because whatever the fucking case may be.
Okay, but
She
why is it
losing,
about?
bro? She is losing stability whether you like it or not. Regardless, she is seeing cracks in her man where she shouldn't see no cracks. That's the whole
Okay,
point.
so my
If
my
the man is
question.
the bro, if the man is the base, bro, if the man is the base, and you're seeing cracks in that motherfucking base, you're worried if this motherfucking building is gonna collapse, bro. You're not
Okay,
over here thinking,
but
oh,
I'm not.
let me actually, let me hear these problems that my man's having, bro. Regardless of whether or not your girl's telling you she wants to hear that, and I'm sure that she might believe that, she's gonna be seeing cracks in her man, bro, and that's never a good thing. It's never a good thing. That's why you got. That's why you got your dad. That's why you got your boys. That's why you got your brother. Although I would even say you shouldn't even talk to them about that shit. But if you want to talk to anybody, that's who you should go to. Not your kids,
So,
not your wife,
lem-
bro.
but how is that so that? How can you say that, right? Like, so you're saying that men should not show weakness to their lady because
At
she would
all, bro.
feel
At all.
like he would like. How can you say that though, bro? Like,
Because
you
again,
can never say a man's gonna be 100% for the rest of his life. It's never gonna happen.
She has her roles. She has her job to do.
Okay, but
If her
what
leader,
you keep on talking
which
about
is another thing, but if her leader is showing cracks and shit, she's not gonna feel secure in doing her job because number one, she's gonna be worrying
Yes.
about your ass, but number two, she's also gonna be like, will I even be able to do my job? Because the person who brings the resources for her to turn into stability is you. That's who brings the resources, bro. And if you're cracking and she sees that, now she's like, will the resources even come? Whether that shit is
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
subconscious or
But
not,
time
bro.
out, time out though. You're in two different topics now.
All right, wait. We've been
You're
talking.
talking about,
No, go ahead, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
um, you're talking about two different topics right now. You said finance, and we're talking about mental health, right? Let me give you an example. What if I have it all figured out financially? Nothing's lacking on the table. I bring everything, all the provision, everything's taken care of. Bills are taken care of. In that case, money's not everything. We can agree on that, right? Money doesn't keep you mentally stable, right? Um, if money's not the issue, right? But I still have a mental issue in some other way where I don't know. It could be another any other scenario. I can't think about one right now, but it could be any other scenario where mentally I am shaken up, and I open up to my lady about it. Do you think she would think Do you think she would think I'm not stable? Like there's a disconnect here? Like no, bro. It's just a simple mental problem that I. I mean, that's a mental problem, but let's say a trouble that I'm having on my mind, right? That has little to do with provision because everything's taken care of. She doesn't have to worry about anything. She's just emotional support. And I think that's what you're not understanding.
Yeah,
It's not
but
about
even,
finance.
again, even then, even when we're taking away the financial aspect of it, when we're taking away the resource aspect of it, she's still, as you said yourself, very emotional. She's a very emotional person because she is a
Oh
woman.
wait, hold up. Can I say something?
You can say
Yeah, go
something.
ahead.
Matt, the thing is that you see women as I see you the way you're explaining stuff. The women are like an object, and their job is only to have kids. Bro, understand women, bro. They actually have feelings. They actually are people too. You can't just say, oh, they're just going to be taking care of the kids, and that's all they have to do. They have to do nothing else, bro. Like, dude, women also want to do other things than just stay home and take care of the kids. You know,
Yeah,
you
I
can't
never
always
said
say, well,
otherwise.
women, bro. But you're sounding like you know,
Well,
sound like you
I
don't.
understand what you believe I'm saying. I understand what it sounds like to you, but I'm not saying that. Never did I say that. I never said that once. What I am saying is that women have their role in a relationship and in a family, and women feeling more secure in their man and her man's stability would be able to complete that role a lot better. The same way that when a woman is doing her job correctly and she's completing all of her role correctly in a relationship, in a family, in the house, then a man can do his job more effectively as well. Of course, women are people, but I'm talking about women in the same sense I'm talking about men. Men have roles as well. I'm not just saying women are the only ones with roles. Women are the only ones with jobs. Men have jobs too. When men have roles too in a relationship. We're talking about it in both ways. I don't know where you got this idea that I'm saying women are objects. I mean, if that's what you're
Because
hearing, then okay.
you're
But
saying a woman's purpose is to have kids. The only reason you marry a woman is to have kids. Dude, that's you basically are like
see
in the
that I never said that either.
1950s.
I never said that either.
But you're not. But look, you need to understand something. You're no longer 1950s, 1960s, where that was a normal thing that women just stayed home taking care of the kids. You're in 2024, almost
Yeah, and
2025.
I would say today's
Today's
society is
world,
way worse than the 1950s.
why is it worse?
What do you mean? Why is it worse? I mean, just look at the men's mental health awareness thing. How many men are deleting themselves in comparison to the 1950s? Just in that
Why do
one
they delete
metric.
themselves?
They've
Ju-
been
be-
deleting themselves though, bro. It's
But
just
why
becoming
do
more
they
Of
delete
course.
documented now.
themselves?
No. You see, again, when you say it's becoming more documented, that's actually false.
Yes,
No, it's not. No, it's
bro.
not.
So you're
No, but
telling me,
wait, hold
so
on,
you're
We've been
hold
telling
on,
me
taking
hold on.
these
nobody else.
numbers for the last like 300 years. We've been taking these numbers, and
So
we've
you
been
mean there
seeing.
was no self deletions in men till now, basically?
No,
That's what you're
no
saying.
one is saying that. I'm never gonna speak. This is something you're gonna know about me. I'm never gonna speak in absolutes. Never will I say 100% of this is this. Of course not, because there's always outliers. But I'm not gonna touch on the outliers. What I'm touching on is the majority. So in the majority, right, in the general sense, men are deleting themselves way more now than they did
Well,
in the 1950s. That's
you know,
just one
there's,
metric
but
as
you
to
know,
how society is better or
but you know,
was better
there's
in the
reason.
1950s than
But
it
it's
was
not about
now.
society. It's about everything has to do with how tough life really is. All right. Let me give you an example. The economy today, right? The economy for let's say the last 15 years has not been great. Let's take it back to '06 and forward till now. Oh wait, till now. The economy has not been great. We can all agree on that, right? And it's been a bigger issue today than I would say the 2000s, even the 90s, 80s. You're right. I can agree on that. But there's like you said, men are stressing, right? Men are having these issues. A lot of it has to do with the economy and the pressure, the constant pressure that society puts on men to be providers. Women are raised to see men as what they offer. In reality, that's the sad truth. That's how women, that's how parents raise their daughter. Find yourself a man that provides, that has it all figured out. Don't go for a bum. That's what they know, right? That's how they're programmed. So what is it? They find a man and let's say he's underwhelming. He doesn't he doesn't fit what you're looking for, right? That's where pressure comes in. That's where society's telling men, hey, look, you got to be like this. If you're not up to par with these guys that are doing this for their lady, you're not being a man. You're not providing the way you're supposed to. Like I said, men don't have it all figured out. Men, statistically, men take longer to mature than women. It's a fact, right? So men will not have it
It's
figured
not a
out
fact,
at
but
an
all right.
early age. It's a fact. You can fact
It's
check
not
me
a
later.
fact.
It's a fact, bro. You can
Well,
fact check me later.
dude, women mature faster than men.
It's fact. It's a fact.
No, bro,
But
it's
we'll
not a
move from
fact.
that. We'll move.
It's
We'll
a
move from
fact.
that.
It's science. What do you mean? No,
I mean,
it's
no,
science.
it's not a fact. I mean, we could talk about that, but that's gonna take too long.
We'll
But
talk. We'll
regardless,
talk about that now.
yeah.
We're not talking about that right now. But it's a
Again,
fact,
you're
buddy.
talking
Fact
about
check
the
me. Fact
you're
check
talking
me.
about the economy, right? You're talking about the
No,
economy.
it's just an example. I'm not saying it's
Yeah,
just
but
that.
that example, in and of itself is that premise in and of itself is already false, because again, when we're looking in the past, which we can look to the past, the Great Depression, which was a much harder time to live in than today's economy, men were still self-deleting at much lower rates than they are even today, where we don't really have an economy to the point of that type of depression in today's economy. We don't. We have it much easier today with much more cushy standards, much more cushy, comfortable positions than we did in the 1930s when the Great Depression
Time
was
out.
happening.
Sorry, but one thing I will tell you is to go back on what you said. Let's talk facts right now. When the Great Depression happened, suicide rates they increased. They skyrocketed.
Self-deletion, bruh.
Self deletion. It increased. It's a fact. You can look that up later. You can fact check me. But when the Great Depression happened, numbers went up. That's for sure. So what does that tell me? That when things happen in life, right? It doesn't always have to be, you know. Well, that was a big thing. The Great Depression was really a big thing, right? But when that happened, it's really what happens in life impacts what happens to people. What goes on, like through history, impacts people mentally. It's just facts. You can't deny that.
Yeah,
You get me?
the self-deletion rates in that time did go up. It did have a spike.
Yes.
But again, still does not, I guess, give a reason as to the fact that the rates at that time were still much lower than the rates are today for men. Like, they are lower. Back in the Great Depression times, they were lower then than they are now. That tells me right there that it's a different problem than just your environmental factors causing these self-deletions. These self-deletions, to me, and I can, again, this can be observed in many ways. are caused due to the fact that men are more feminized today than we were back even in that time. We're way more feminized today to think that, okay, and you even say this yourself when we're at work, bro. You're talking about how men today are bitches. Men today are not doing their duties, or not, doing what they have to do, and this, that, and the third. Yeah, I would agree with you. Men today are more feminine than they ever were, and due to this feminism of men, or feminization rather of men, we have lost our purpose as men. And since we've lost our purpose, our main outlet as men is to find a solution to that loss of purpose. What's that solution? To end your own life. That's what it is right there. Women have been taught, you don't need a man. You can be independent. You can go get a job, be a boss babe, this, that, and the third. Men have been taught, be chivalrous to women, be good to women, be nice to women, even though they're going to treat us like shit majority of the time, because again, right now, they're independent boss babes. Men don't see a purpose in life anymore. We find solutions to problems. We found the solution to that problem. What's that solution? Offing ourselves. That's what it is right there.
But you see that back since you brought up the Great Depression, right? You know those recessionary years that we went through, the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, those years, right? There was a huge spike in self-deletions, right? Due to unemployment, many issues, but unemployment was a huge deal back then, right? In those times, right? In those recessionary years, right? So what does that tell you, right? When finance is struck and it takes a hit in the family, more specifically the head of the household, because again, we're talking about the man as a provider, right? When the financial aspect of the family takes a hit, and in reality, the head, like it's gonna be shaken. How we were talking about, the man is gonna be shaken, right? So what does that lead to? It's factual. Men to self-deletion. Back then, it was a thing. You saw actually, I think in the last 4 years, ever since the COVID thing happens, right? Everybody went into this whole depression thing where like, oh, the finance, there was a whole the interest rates went up, all these financial things that were affecting people. It became even bigger now. So what does this tell you? That the evidence supports that men go through these things. Well, I'm not telling you just men, because I'm not telling you every man is off in himself, right? But these certain situations do impact men. Why? Because society puts men on this thing of where they need to provide, figure it out no matter what. You have a family to look after, figure it out. That's not the way to go, right? Because throughout life, there's inconsistency. Finance is not always going to be, the economy is not always going to be perfect, right? Now, obviously, this whole recession that we had, basically, back in 08, we talk about the recessionary years, back in the 20s, 30s, the 40s, clearly those things show evidence that when those things happen, there's constant pressure on men. And men, they got to live up to this pressure. And the sad truth is, we cannot do that. We cannot do that.
We can.
That's why
and
we need
have.
help.
We can and
No,
we have,
because,
dude. Yes,
so,
we can.
but if evidence supports it, where I'm telling you, you can't go against evidence, right?
Okay, what is the evidence? That we were offing ourselves more in the Great Depression?
No. No, there is a huge spike, and don't quote me on this, but I know that the spike was up to like 22%.
Right? Yeah, there was a big
around
spike.
there, 25 or
But do you know
something
what
like that.
else had a big spike during that time?
No, I don't.
Infant mortality. Their kids were dying around that time because of the fact that men, or rather work, was so scarce. Not only was work scarce, but food was scarce, resources were scarce. So their family was being affected in the sense that their kids were dying. The infant mortality rate was high in that time. There was a peak
Yes,
at
but
that time.
what's the
When men fail at the one job they have, which is take care of your family, men end their own lives, bro. That's just how it is. When men
but that's
fail
easy
at
to
that
say.
job.
But Matthew, it's very easy to say, just figure it out. But there's a whole recession going around, unemployment. In those recession years, people were getting fired. People were, hey, you know what? We don't need anybody. Those moments, you can't just say hey, look, figure it out.
Yeah,
It's not.
but we've seen recessions,
You
bro.
can't just
We've
go out
seen
there and sell your ass because
we've
now you're
seen
affecting your
recessions
mental
happen,
health
bro.
even more.
We've seen recessions happen even after the Great Depression, and we did not self delete as much as we did, or as we are now, but also as we did in the Great Depression, because infant mortality rates also didn't go up during those times, during those other during those other recessions. It did not. It went up during the Great Depression. Men were offing themselves because they lost their kids at that time, because they could not provide for them, bro. They would be in shitty situations. They would have to travel hundreds and hundreds of miles just to find some work. Their kids would be alone, or they'd be traveling in harsh conditions. And again, infant mortality rate was high. Men are gonna
Say it
off
again.
themselves
Say it
for
again.
that.
You're like freezing up.
I'm freezing up.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Again, during that time, men were offing themselves, considering the situation. They had to go and travel hundreds and hundreds of miles just to find work. Their kids were either alone, or they were in harsh conditions and things of this nature. Dude, they would die during these times, and the infant mortality rate was high due due to the fact that the Great Depression was happening, and men would off themselves because of that. It's not because, oh, times are tough and the money is tight, bro. It's because they were failing at the one job they had, which was take care of my family. The woman can't help with that, bro. The man is the one who has to go out and work. Most of the jobs that they had at that point were laborious physical work. Women couldn't do those fucking jobs. Men could. There's factory shit.
All right.
Like,
So what about today? What about in today's day where
yeah,
women
today we don't
in
got that
reality,
problem, cuz we don't got that shit, but we're still doing it way more.
women
Why?
work. Women work, and that's it. That's where I'm trying to get to. Nowadays, men don't have to worry about. And I'm gonna speak in a general because, in a general way because really, in this society, women work and men work. It's really how it is right now. You know, even if you disagree if it should be like that or not, it's really how it is. Men work and women work, right? Doesn't matter who the breadwinner is. At the end of the day, they both work, right? 40 hours, right? So usually, like when you have two, because that's two paychecks. It's not just one now. It's not just a man providing. It's a woman too, right? So you would say that a man's getting help from a woman, right? Financially. In today's day, is really how it is, right? But that means that financial status should not be impacting men as hard because they have a help in the household. If it's your family or if it's your girlfriend, usually both parties work now. So I don't think it's too much of a financial thing at this point. Yes, I understand that. Like it has for sure an effect on men because again, we need to live up to these expectations that women are taught to want, right? Growing up, right? Find the perfect man, find the rich dude, find this, find that, right? But in today's day, like I said, both parties work. Both parties earn money. You know, women work, men work. Women are graduating more than ever. You know what I'm saying? Actually, I think women are graduating at a much higher rate than men today,
Yeah, because
right?
they're
So
doing
they're
easy ass fucking majors, but either way.
yeah, but it doesn't matter. But the point is, they make money. Even if it's an easy major, they make money just like us, right? Even if we do the harder stuff, they make money just like us, right? So I that would for me that would suggest that men. I don't think that men is much more than just financial issues. It's obviously something deeper, right? And this all goes back to what I was explaining to you before. I think men need to speak. Like people have their mental battles. That's where I stand, and I'm not. You know, we can agree to disagree on that, but men need to speak, bro. Men are not always gonna be 100%, bro. We are taught to be macho, macho. We're not like that, bro. You know, like men can be vulnerable. I think a man being vulnerable is good at certain times. Now, I'm not saying go home every day and cry to your wife because your manager yelled at you and cry about it. You know, you can tell her about it if you want to, if not, whatever. Now, if you're gonna sit there and sob and make a whole victim story, that's an issue, right? But I'm telling you, when you're shaken, right, in your family, right, and you're really down bad and you need help, you need to go to somebody. For me, it's your wife. You know what? Know what? You know, I'm married, so when I have a tough issue, my wife can vouch. She's somewhere over there. When I have an issue, bro, I go to my wife, right? That's the first person I rely on, like, and mentally, you know, in the sense of like, if I'm going through something, I know I can come to this person. I confide in my wife, right? She tells me, hey, look, not everything is a solution. Like I said, bro, not everything is a solution. My wife is she's supportive. Obviously, she supports me in whatever I do. She's not always giving me a solution. Sometimes it's a word of encouragement. Does it help me or not? At the end of the day, it's an effort. You might say, so what was the whole point of saying anything if she's not gonna help you? You got me? It's not just that. The simple fact of you opening up to somebody and finding help and actually communicating to your significant other, right? Because communication is the biggest key in a relationship. You look at relationships the last years, you look at people that have experience of 30, 40 years plus in a relationship, they tell you the most important thing in a relationship is communication. And I stand by that, bro. We got to learn from our older people, people with experience. Communication is key, bro. And it's not just in relationships, it's in everything, bro. Um, Parenthood, brotherhood, whatever you want to call it, communication is key, bro. That when you have communication, bro, confusion is not as big. There's clarity in things. But when there's communication, when there's no communication in this aspect of you don't tell your significant other how you feel, there's a disconnect, bro. You guys are one. You guys got together to build something, right? Because when you find somebody, you guys are building towards something. We don't have it all figured out in the beginning. When you get married, you build towards something, right? And that's just a foundation, right? You gotta communicate. You gotta connect. You guys are one. Your problem becomes your lady's problem, and your lady's problem is yours. You cannot just pick and choose. Oh, I'm gonna tell my lady this. Oh, I'm gonna hide this from her. Don't get me wrong. As human beings, we do tend to hide a couple things. We're not always gonna be 100%. We might say 90, 80, 85%. But I think as human beings, we need to be 100%. In being transparent, we need to be transparent, bro. As human beings with each other, bro. We all lack something. We can all learn from a neighbor. I can learn something from George. Maybe I'm not. Maybe George went through something and he has experience in it, and I'm going through the same thing. I'm going through the same mental battle that I know George went through a couple years ago. He can help me with that because he has experience in that. You got me? And that's just an example of where I stand on that.
All right, well, I'm gonna take that as a closing argument because we've been debating this for about an hour, so
Can I
it's
say
probably
something
fine.
else?
Yeah,
Before
go
it
ahead, go ahead,
ends?
go ahead.
At the end of it all, um, you both have good points,
Nah, bro, he
but
doesn't have a good point.
wait. No, I'm saying both have good points in your arguments, but I have to give it to what do you call it? I have to give it to Jimmy because Matt, you're still living in like Stone Age, bro.
All right, well, I'm gonna give my my final statement, I suppose, and then we can either move it on or I don't know, Jimmy. You told me you had to dip at around 10, or you still got to or what?
Got a little bit more in me, bro.
All right, bet. Well, we'll touch on a different topic, or if you'd like, or we'll move this on to a different thing in general. But yeah. So I'm gonna give my final statement or my closing argument right now. So I would say that you touching on the fact that women are working more today would actually be more towards my point, rather than it would be towards yours, in the sense that back in the time when men actually had more to complain about, we self-deleted less than we do today, even though we had more to complain about back in that time. Now today we have less to complain about, according to you, because of the fact that women are working now, so we don't have to worry as much about finances, and so on and so forth. And again, I think this is just a fact of life, that life today is much more cushy, much more comfortable than it ever was, than it ever has been, um, in the history of the human race. Uh, that is also another reason why men should not be complaining as much as they did before, or offing themselves as much as they did before. Yet we are still doing that, even on top of the fact that we have today being the most we've ever in the history of the human race brought up men's mental health awareness, again in the history of the human race, and we're still offing ourselves as or more than we ever have in the history of the human race, or at least as far as we've been calculating these numbers. That to me goes to show that it's not a problem of talking about things. It's a problem of weak men. It's a problem of making or turning the sexes into things that they're not, into turning the sexes into roles that they should not be in. For example, this whole entire push of feminism, this whole entire push of women voting, of women can vote, women can vote. We need to fight for the right for women to vote, so on and so forth. And women should be in the workplace. Women should also have an opportunity to go to work. Women should also have an opportunity to go to school so they can get a good job and be independent and all that. This whole push for these things has led astray, has led our men to being lost in their purpose in life, in their purpose in this world, in their purpose in relationships and families. We no longer have this purpose that we used to because women are fucking are doing the same shit we're doing, and if not, they're doing it with more of like I guess a boss babe attitude, and we're like, all right, bro. I mean, if I got nothing to do in this relationship because I'm, she's the working and this, that, and the third, what am I to do? We are made biologically to hunt and gather. That is our job biologically. Now, George can say I'm still living in the Stone Age. I mean, you can give me that argument if you'd like, but regardless, we can take from, as Jimmy said as well, he takes from the past of what his parents and the past generation has told him about communication and stuff. I can take from the past, from what we've seen in the statistics and such, of what we've seen in self-deletion rates and culture at large. And what we've seen is that men did not need to speak on things. We were fine working things out on our own, working through problems. Now that we're told to speak on things more, we're self-deleting more. It just doesn't really make sense to me. But again, regardless, this whole idea that I'm in the Stone Age, cool, I
I
guess.
want to know where you got your facts that men are deleting themselves more when they speak.
Well, I mean, you can see this in the fact that today men are told more than ever before in the history of the human race. Speak up more. Speak about your feelings. Talk about your feelings. It's becoming more pushed on society that men should talk about their emotions, that men should open up about their emotions than ever before. We've never told men this before in the history of the human race. But now, in the same period of time that we've been telling these men to speak up more, is the same period of time in which they've been self-deleting more. You can see it in the numbers of self-deletion rates every year, and it has gone up ever since we've had this like movement of, oh, men should speak up more, men should talk about their feelings, and so on and so forth. So that's how I would see it. I'm not saying
And
that
the population does keep growing. It's not gonna stay stable forever.
yeah, but
May
again,
I say something?
this is the average. But yeah, go ahead, Maddie. Sorry.
I don't mean to interrupt. You go ahead, finish your thought. Finish your thought.
I'm I'm saying that this is the average of what we see. Like for example, per 100 people or per 100,000, it has nothing to do with population size because we're not taking from a whole population size. We're taking from an average number of 100,000 people or 100 people, so on and so forth. Either way, go ahead, Maddie.
I just wanted to say, the whole situation. I feel that I agree with Jimmy 100% about speaking to your woman, because when you get into a relationship, your problems are her problems and her problems are your problems. And if you don't have good communication even about issues, then the relationship could be in jeopardy, because if you don't trust enough and if you're not vulnerable enough, like Jimmy said, to express your feelings, even if it's not, complaining or things like that. If you don't talk to your woman, then what's the point of being in the relationship? Because, like I said, without communication, that's your relationship is bound to fail.
All right. Well, I mean, as for my closing arguments, I'm pretty much done with them. So if you guys have any last comments to say about this topic, we can do that, or if not, we can move on to the next thing. But whatever you guys decide.
Well, I definitely appreciate the support from Matt and George. Thank you guys for being on my side.
And I
I got a
appreciate
W.
and I appreciate the back and forth. It was definitely entertaining and fun, for sure.
Definitely, bro.
So you
You're so
guys,
You
crazy.
guys
You're
are
so
fun
crazy, though.
people.
does anybody want to have a final statement about this topic?
Yeah, I want to say something else.
All right, go ahead, buddy.
I mean, Matt, I understand you follow the Bible a lot. That's probably why your mentality is like this, because you're a religious person, but you believe these things because of that.
Well, I
But
haven't
I
brought up
mean,
religion at all, but I mean, okay,
no, but I mean, one of the main reasons you do believe this is because of your religion.
not necessarily, but I mean, if you want to have that premise.
I'm done. I'm done.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I guess I'll respond to that. I mean, I don't have I don't have this belief system because of my religion. I didn't talk about religion at all throughout this entire thing. It's strictly what I believe men should do based off of utility rather than um, what my God has said, or what the Bible has said, or whatever the case may be. But either way, yeah. So if that's the last comments we have on that topic, we can move it on to the next thing. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
go ahead.
Keep it moving.
All right. Cool. So I wanna touch on one thing that we also disagreed on at work. Women voting.
Oh God.
Women voting. I do want to touch on this. I want to see if there's as much pushback as I expect to have on this topic. But I guess I will state my claim on this as well. Women should not vote in the elections of the United States of America because I believe voting is a privilege that is earned by responsibility that people have, and I don't believe women have the same responsibility that men do.
Wait, what did you say?
So is this open mic or?
Yeah, open mic. Whoever disagrees or whatever, you can speak on
The
it.
Oh, actually,
woman,
repeat it
bro.
for George. He didn't hear you. He said.
Oh,
No, I
okay.
heard him. I heard him. He said that women shouldn't vote.
All right. So I guess I'll go first. All right. So women shouldn't vote because we don't have the same responsibility. Can you reiterate exactly what is it? What is the responsibility of men that women don't have? I believe we both work. Most women, like I said before, most women work. All women work just like men, right? They all live off a salary. Women they go to school just like men.
They
Well,
pay
actually,
taxes.
they pay exact. Wait, let me not get there. Let's talk about what the responsibility is as men, right? We work the same way. Maybe not the same way, because yes, like you said, men do have a I would like we've had this conversation before where yes, men do most jobs better than women. I'm with you on that, but they work just like us, right? So we cannot devalue their work to society because we do it better. At the end of the day, they work as well, right? So what is it that men do that women don't do?
All right, so we can get on each of those points if you would like to, but the question, Jimmy, mute yourself, please, bro. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it. But either way, so the question that you asked me was, what do men do that women don't do? And the simple answer is that we are forced into military conscription if the case were to come so that um, we have a war on our hands and the United States government needs to draft people. They are not drafting the women to go to war and die in a war that was not their choice. They are drafting men and only men to go to this war and fight and die for a cause that they probably don't even agree with. So that is what men do that women don't do.
So that would basically be the only reason, the sole reason why you think they shouldn't vote because of their contribution to war, basically.
Well, yeah, because again, I believe that voting is a privilege, and privileges are granted to people based off of their responsibilities or duties. And men, I can't see a better or bigger duty to the country than the defense of the country. And we have to go to war to defend this country. War is not a very fun thing. People die. Yo, Jimmy, when you're not talking, bro, mute yourself, bro, please. But so war is not a fun thing. People die. It's a horrific thing, and men are what's the word? Men are, I suppose, the only ones who have to go to war. Women are not. So yeah. So again, privilege, responsibility. Men hold that responsibility.
So when you speak about women, you realize that there's women serving our country right now, right? So once you generalize women, right? Unless you want to make the exception, right, on the women that are in the military, can they vote, right? Because when you talk about women, you're talking about women as a whole, right? Women is women, all generalized, right? So what about the women that are serving our country right now, that are basically out there, even if it's out there in the field? I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna say they're not out there with the guns. They're not. But serving the country is serving the country. And yes, there is women out there in the field, right? Obviously not more than men, because men are more suitable for that situation, right? But what would you say to those women that are serving our country?
Yeah, I would say to them that you can't vote. So the reason why I would say this is because of the simple fact that if a war were to break out that needed a draft, men would be drafted and men would be put on the front lines to go die in the machine that is war. Women would not be. They would not be subject to this because of the simple fact that they are not physically able to do the things that men are able to do. There are no Navy SEALs that are women because they have never been able to pass the test that Navy SEALs have to pass. Even when the SEALs dropped their standards for their testing and all that, women still weren't able to complete these testing. They're just not physically able to. They're not physically as equipped as men are, and which is the reason why men are always sent to the front lines of wars and women are not. If we send women to the front lines of wars, they would be essayed, tortured, mentally destroyed, and sent back to their men to mentally destroy us, and it would not be pretty. There's a reason women have never fought in wars that were like large scale. It's always been men. But yeah, the women who are in the military at this very moment in time, it is peacetime, at least for the United States. We are in no current conflicts. And if we are in any current conflicts, I can almost guarantee you that men are the ones who are in those conflicts and not women. In the units where they have sent women and men in the same units, women have slowed down the men, and it wasn't effective at all to have women in the same units as men. So again, in a wartime, women would not be on the front lines. Men would be on the front lines.
All right, so my counter to that would be that women do, if a war was to break out, women will get sent out to war as well. There's no exception. Maybe we can fact check this later, but from what I know, there's no exception for a woman to be, how can I say, to be stopped from going to war. I've never really read that anywhere. Once you're serving time, you're serving time. You're serving a country. Whatever they say you do, you do. Now, will men be in the front line? Yes, they'll send the men first. But women will be right there with them. You got me? Women can go to war. They're able to.
Yeah, no, women
It's
will
not
not
like,
be right there with them on the front lines. That is completely false. There's
How do
there's
you know?
because
How do
that's
you know?
because again, we understand the tactics that the United States has used in wars. There have been wars that the United States was a part of. They have never ever sent women to the front lines because that is the dumbest fucking shit any army could ever do, bro. Any army that wants to win a war, you're not sending your women to the front lines, bro.
But today, in today's age, there's women in the military.
Yeah, there's
There's
women in the
women that are going
military.
on
You
missions.
know what women will be doing in the military if a war were to break out? They'd be doing the factory work. They'd be doing the manufacturing. They'd be doing the care
You're just a
in the
misogynist
hospital.
dude, bro. You're so
I
fucking
mean,
machista. That's what
bro,
you are.
if you want to make that claim, that's fine, but that's not proving your point or disproving mine. Simply put, women have their inabilities physically. They will be put to do jobs that they can do and that are needed at war. Those jobs generally are not going to be as dangerous as being on the fucking front lines of war. Women will not be sent there. They will not be sent there. That's just the fact of the matter.
okay, so my question to you is, right? We can actually go back, like, to come back to this little war thing, but one thing I will say is that, with the simple fact of you being sent to another country, let's say Iraq, any dangerous country any territory out of the U.S. that is dangerous, right? Women get sent over there. We're all aware of that, right? Just the simple fact of you being out there is risking your life because of an attack. You never know what can come. You never know. In the military, you don't know what can happen. Especially when you're out there in a country that where you're endangered, basically. Things can go south, right? And these women, we can go back to the war thing later. Said the simple fact of a woman being there, even if she's just the lunch lady serving the food,
He's
it's
doing more
risking
than
your
what Matt
life.
is doing right now. Nothing.
Exactly. I'm sitting on my ass right now. These women are out there, right? Serving our country. Serving the country is not just necessarily being holding a gun, killing people. Serving the country can happen in multiple ways. We can agree on that, right?
Bro,
Yeah, but
exactly. Like right now, there's mechanics that are not. There's male mechanics that are not serving the front lines. There's
I'm
women mechanics that are not serving the front lines. If you don't
exactly.
fix these tanks, if you don't fix these airships, if you don't fix these boats, how the hell are we gonna win the war? We're not gonna win it just by using little rifles. You have people making bullets. You have women that are fixing guns. You have women cleaning guns. You have all these things in the background. You need all that.
yeah,
You need
which is
medics. You need all
essential.
that
Yeah,
stuff.
it's essential to the war effort. Of course, it's essential to the
Exactly.
war effort, but it's not going, generally speaking, not going to get your fucking head blown off or your fucking leg blown off as much
But
as being
dude,
on
they
the
can
front
hit
line will.
right now.
Dude,
Right now,
I
I'm
mean,
the enemy.
you can tell
And
me
there's
you can tell me
there's the
anything
tank unit.
about
The
you can
tank
tell me
unit right there.
anything
They're
about the
fixing the
fact.
tanks. Listen. The tank units are being fixed, and there's women there. Just like there's a tent for injured soldiers, and they're taking care of the soldiers. There could be a bomb that they said, let's hit them with bombs, and dude, they're gonna die. Their lives are at risk.
You can say that about any position in any point of
Oh,
war. You can say that shit about civilians. Civilians are in a dangerous position because they can be bombed in a war, and the enemy army can bomb their civilians. You can say the same shit about civilians, bro. You can say the same thing about anybody in wartime, dude.
Yes, but the civilians are not serving the country. These women are. That's a big difference.
Again,
If a civilian dies, it's because wrong place, wrong time, unfair. That's not the way it should work, but it is what it is, right? If a woman dies out there in war, it's because she chose to really fight for the country. If she chose to die in a base out there somewhere else, it's because she chose to die for this country. That's the reality of it.
again, generally speaking, the jobs that women would be doing at that time are not going to entail that your head's going to be blown off or some shit like that. The majority of the deaths would be for the people in the front lines who are engaging in these battles that would be happening.
obviously,
Okay,
death toll
okay,
be in the
you can
front
tell me,
lines.
you can tell me all you
Obviously.
want that civilians could die or that people in the bases could die, that are the manufacturers could die, the clinics, the clinic workers could die, the hospital workers could die. You can tell me all you want about people that could die during war times. That's great. They are not dying in droves like the people in the front lines. I don't give a shit what you can tell me about people who
But
are
there is
dying in the
women that have been
manufacturing.
on the front line. You do know that.
In the military, in the
In
history,
the military.
in the history
No,
of
we're not talking
wars,
about
bro.
1990, whatever. We're talking about right now. There's women on the front lines. You know that, right?
In the front lines of what? Of what war, bro?
The conflicts with the fucking Hamas and all that stuff, bro. All the fucking little terrorist groups, they're there.
Because Israel is putting them on the front lines. We're talking about the United States here. We're not talking about
Which-
voting in
the
Israel. We're
United
talking about
States
voting
has
in the
women on
United
the front
States.
line. Google
In
your
what
shit,
war?
bro.
In what war, bro?
Bro, we are at constant war. What the fuck are you talking?
What
you think that
war
we're
are
doing
we in
at
right now,
peace?
bro? What war are we in right now?
We're at war with terrorists. What the fuck are you
What the
talking
fuck are you fucking on about? We're at war right now.
Goodness, bro. You are a.
That's your claim that
how do I
we're
say
at
it?
war right
you
now,
are
bro?
a legit. I can't say that word,
We're at war
Holy
right now. That's what you're saying,
bro. We're always at war. What the hell are
this
you
guy
talking
is-
about?
bro. Even if we fucking were at war, I guarantee you the women are not over there fighting this fucking secret war that you're
Do you
talking
have
about.
anybody in the?
What? You cut off, bro.
Do you have anybody that's in the military that you know?
Yes, I know several people that are in the military.
Who do you know?
Yeah.
Friends
Yo,
of
Matthew.
Yeah, what's up?
So you're telling me that no woman has ever been in the front line?
No, in his case, women don't do anything. They're worthless to him.
Because
bro,
Matthew,
this
I'm
guy's
pretty
fucking
sure.
machista.
Maybe later. Obviously, we could fact check that, and I guarantee you, a woman has gone to war, or before or now. I guarantee you that a woman has been on the field.
Listen, when we're talking about this, right? We're talking about the United States here because the United States is the country in which we're speaking about voting. I'm not talking about voting in Iraq or voting in fucking Germany or some shit. We're talking about voting in the States. In the United States, in the wars where we've had to conscript people to fight in the front lines, we've conscripted men. We've sent men. We have not sent women. We've had women who volunteered to work in the military, and where we put them is, again, in the hospitals, in the bases, working as lunch ladies or working as whatever the fuck else they put them in there, pencil pushers, whatever the case may be, people in the offices. This is where they put women because this is where women are most effective. Where men are most effective are on the fucking front lines, taking bayonets, shoving them in people's chests,
Look right here.
shooting
I
people
have
in the
something
forehead.
I just looked up right now. So boys, they said in the Revolutionary War, there was women fighting alongside George Washington. They said that there was a small little platoon of women that were actually handling the tanks and also with muskets to protect George Washington while he stayed behind. That's back then, and I can look. Civil War. There was also fighting in the Civil War.
So you're talking about in a war where civilians had
war!
to take arms.
We're
and
talking
fight,
about. You said
right?
women don't
That's what you're
serve.
talking about, right? No. Listen,
Oh
we're talking
my
about
goodness.
we're talking about a war where civilians had to take up arms and fight, right?
No, we're talking about wars, civil war.
Yeah,
We're
no,
talking
the Civil
about
War,
civil war.
the Civil War,
We're
which
talking about revolution.
okay, that's fine. We can talk about those wars. The Revolutionary War was
Wait,
a war.
I'm looking. I have fought and hold up.
Okay, so I have to wait for you to. No, I'm gonna keep
No,
talking.
no, keep going.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep going. In the Revolutionary War, it was a war where civilians had to fight. Again, it was a revolutionary war. It was people, regular people, not fucking soldiers who were taking up arms to fight against the
But there were
government.
women.
Yeah,
There were
because
women
they were
there.
regular
They were
people.
fighting.
Every regular person was taking up arms to fight, bro.
This guy's
Anybody
an
who was
idiot. So just
able-bodied
because-
would fight,
so
bro.
if in the Revolutionary War, if women didn't help the men fight, the fucking British could have lost.
We would have lost if women wouldn't help the
I
fucking
said
British.
we could have lost.
No,
bro.
we
They
could
were-
not
bro,
have, bro.
You're taking.
You tell me the
my
women
God.
won the fucking
bro,
war
this
for
guy's
us.
a fucking moron.
The
Bro. This
women-
guy lives
no,
on
no,
fucking
no.
planet
Actually,
Jupiter or
no,
something.
This man lives in planet women because women definitely were the
Bro, I'm not
fucking
saying
turning
they're the
point of us
strongest-
winning,
I'm
of us
saying they're
winning the fucking
strongest
war.
force.
100%.
But I'm saying they did something. They didn't just sit back like you do at your fucking job. If
Yeah,
you want to
that's
do something,
great.
go to fucking
That's
war. bro.
great.
You don't do
We're not
shit.
in
You
any
sit
wars.
behind
We're
your
not
little
in any
desk at work,
wars.
and you're
We're
like,
not
women
in
shouldn't
any
vote,
wars,
bro. You shit for society.
We're not in any wars, bro. There are no wars for me to go attend in. Number one. Number two, these women that you're
Like you
talking
would,
about.
where you're.
Who the fuck says I wouldn't or would? What the fuck does that even have to do with the conversation, bro? Regardless, again, the women who were fighting in the Revolutionary War, number one, were not the fucking turning point of the war and why we won that shit, bro. Number two, they were civilians. Like the other men who were fighting were also civilians because it was a revolutionary war. We were getting freedom from the fucking oppressive government that we were a part of. That's the bro. Like, we're talking about a government who is conscripting people. We are drafting people forcefully to fight in a war. You do that to men. You don't do that to women. If we did have a war today, let's just say theoretically, hypothetically, there was a war today that popped out and there was a draft. I would be fucking subject to that draft. Maddie would be subject to that draft. Any man that we know that's under the age of 25 and over the age of 18 would be subject to that draft. And any men beyond that would still also be subject to it if all the other men were gone. We are subject to it. You know who's not subject to it? Every fucking woman that you know. There is not a single woman that
Dude,
you
we're
know.
not talking about the draft. We're talking about women in the service
Are
right
you
now.
fucking
we're talking about
stupid?
women in the
This is how I know that you're
moron.
fucking stupid. We are talking
You're
about
stupid,
the draft, you fucking
moron,
idiot.
Misogynist
We are
motherfucker,
talking
bro.
about the draft, you fucking simp bitch. We're talking about the draft here, bro.
Bro,
We're
the
not talking
sympathy
about
is
this
you,
shit.
bro.
I'm
Get
the
outta here
simp. You're
with
calling
that
me a
shit.
misogynist. So am I a misogynist
Bro,
or a simp?
you're
Which
fucking
one?
misogynist, bro. All you
Oh, so
there
now I'm a
are women things
misogynist.
of
I'm not a
value in
simp
this world,
anymore.
bro. You don't value women. You do not value a single.
You're right, and you value women
said
so
yourself.
much. You're right.
You don't even value your
women
own
so
mom.
much.
Bro,
Because
shut the
women
fuck
should be on the
up,
front
bro.
lines. Let's send women to the front lines because we value women so much. Let's do
Bro,
that.
it's not because we value them. I'm not saying sit front lines. I'm just saying that I'm telling you they have served in the military. And
That's
they have
great.
Served
They
in
have
the front
served in the
lines,
military. That's
and
not what the
you're
fuck
saying
I'm
no.
talking about. When what did I say was the reason why men should have the right to vote and women not at the beginning of this conversation?
You said because we get sent to the fucking military.
No, you
Bro,
fucking
who the
idiot.
fuck
It's
gives a
because
fuck?
men are the
Everybody
ones
goes
who are
war
subject
if
to
they
the
want to.
draft,
Women
bro.
have the option to go if they want to.
Men are the ones who are subject to the draft. That's the whole fucking idea here. That's what I'm arguing. It's not because men go to war.
Just because
no,
of
you
that.
fucking
Okay, so
idiot.
just because you are subjected to the draft, that you should vote just because of that.
Yes, there is a privilege. The privilege is voting. There is a responsibility that you must have in order to receive that privilege. It's not just a fucking free gift, right? Or at least now it is. But regardless, at the beginning, it was not. Most men couldn't even vote at the beginning of voting. But regardless, it's a privilege. Men have that privilege based off the fact that we are subject to the draft. Women are not. They cannot be.
Yo, Matthew, I have a question.
Yeah, what up, bro?
What about the men that don't vote, that don't go to the military? Where's the responsibility different there?
Yeah.
What about people that are not able to
Yeah,
go to the military
I
because
can
of a
answer to
disability?
this. I can answer to this. So, every man is subject to the draft. That's not me saying that every man will fight in a war. That's not me saying that every man has fought in a war. What I'm saying is every man has the possibility of being chosen by their government to be sent to the war that they are currently in, right? So, even if you have some sort of disability that would, let's just say like you got asthma, and asthma would take you away from fighting in today's standards. If every other man died that didn't have asthma, and they still needed men, they will not give a fuck. And we've seen this in I believe it was I don't know if it's the Vietnam War or if it's World War II, but we've seen this where men who had these problems that usually would preclude them from the service, they were still forced to go regardless of whether or not they had this condition. If they couldn't pay people, because there was time they couldn't pay people, they still were sent to war. If they couldn't provide provisions for these people, they were still sent to war. Why? Because war needs bodies. And if they need bodies to win the war, they will take bodies, bruh. The government is not as fucking nice as you think it is, bruh. They will take the fucking bodies, bruh. No matter what. No matter what conditions you have.
Nice.
Yo, but Matthew, you realize that, um, you realize that. Okay, so you're saying that. So to go away from the war a little bit, because clearly we're in a.
Is that that's all the privilege that a woman needs to
Yes,
fucking vote
yeah,
is war.
which is I don't understand that, but I guess all right. So to actually say something about that real quick though, women. All right, you're saying that women shouldn't vote because they don't what they won't be in the front line. That's what I
Look,
what
I'm
you're
gonna
saying,
I'm
right?
gonna I'm gonna restate my position. I'm gonna state it clearly because obviously it's been lost in translation some fucking how. The reason why I believe women should not have the right to vote and men should is because to me, and this is how the standard was before women were allowed to vote, men have, or rather, sorry, voting is a privilege. A privilege entails that the person receiving this privilege has some sort of responsibility or duty.
Wait, I know what you're talking
No,
about.
no, no,
Back
no, no, no,
then,
no, no, no.
back
Let
then,
me
no, wait,
finish.
wait.
Let me finish. Let me
But
finish. Then you
yeah,
can say
but
whatever you
back
want. Then you can say
then,
whatever.
the
Listen,
people
listen.
that were
You
allowed
can
to
say
vote
whatever you
were
want.
American
You can say
citizens that were
whatever
born in
you.
this country.
You
You were
can
not
say
born in this
whatever
country, you're an
you want.
immigrant.
You can say whatever you want after I'm done with my fucking point. All right. So again, women, or rather, voting is a privilege. Privilege entails a duty or responsibility. That duty or responsibility is the defense of the nation. Men are forced into that if the country needs them. Women are not. That is the duty that men have that women do not, that gives them the privilege that is voting. Plain and simple. That's my position. Just so we're clear here.
So my question is there an exception for the women that serve our country? Because at the end of the day, contribution to the country's contribution. Regardless if you're holding a gun out there in the field or if you're fueling up the trucks that need fuel, whatever the case may be, that's contribution to the country, right? You're out there in a country that's dangerous, right? Let's be more literal, right? When you're in a country that's dangerous, you're at risk of losing your life. You left your family behind, you left your husband behind, whatever your children, whatever you want to call it, right? These women are being selfless and saying, you know what? I'm gonna serve my country, and I want to do this because they don't go there forced, like you said. They're willingly doing that. So you're telling me these women shouldn't have the right to vote? Like that's ridiculous, bro.
Dog,
Because these
again,
women,
we're not talking about women who choose this because there are also men who choose this. What
oh,
we're
say so.
talking,
There's an
well,
exception.
again, what we're talking, no, we're not. There's no exception. What I'm saying is
So
that
so those women
again,
shouldn't vote
let
then.
me explain. They shouldn't vote. Why? Because as I stated at the beginning, it is a responsibility upon men. It is not like it's a thing that is required from men, that if the government needs you for a war that is happening, you will have to go. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. With women, though, as you so eloquently put it when you were talking about it, women choose to do this stuff. They could choose this shit. Men cannot choose this shit. You're either sent or you're not sent. And if you are chosen to be sent, you cannot fucking say no. If you do say no, and you can look it up in the laws of the country right now, you're either fined $250,000 or you are sent to military prison until the end of the fucking war. Women are not subject to that. Men are, right? You can tell me all you want that women choose these things, women can choose to go to war, women can choose to do these things, that's fine. And even if you were to say that that job is still dangerous, therefore they should be allowed to, that's cool, whatever. I'm not even going to argue that point, even though that point is fucking stupid. But again, the main thing is men have the option to be forced upon this thing. It is a requirement for men to do this thing if the government so needs them. Women are not required to do this thing. That's the whole point. They can choose it, whatever. Men can choose it too. Men, or rather, um, men can't choose it. Women could. That's the difference here. Women should not be allowed to vote, even if you choose to go to war, simply because you chose it. Men cannot choose. Men have to.
Okay. So yeah, you're crazy. All right. So
Bro,
let
you're not
me.
gonna change his mind. This guy
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah,
completely
yeah, yeah.
gone.
He's for sure on the military thing. He's for sure tunnel vision. I respect it though. You stick with what you said, right? But my so let me ask you this, right? Well, I'm gonna go to something else because you said like women shouldn't vote, right? Let me tell you a couple reasons why I think women should vote, right? Let me ask the question first. Do laws affect women as much as men? Yes or no?
Yeah,
It does, right? So when you talk about laws affecting women
actually,
as much
sorry,
as
no,
men, why is it that it doesn't? Can you elaborate?
because the people that the citizens of the country put in office will create laws and will also create legislation, not only domestically but foreignly, that can put us in a war, and men will have to be sent to the fucking war, and women won't. Plain and simple, bro.
This guy keeps on with the fucking war.
But we're not talking about war. We're talking
Yeah,
about
but
law. We're
again,
talking
the
about
the
laws.
war, right? The war aspect is because of the fact that I believe that voting is a privilege, right? Do
No,
you
but you don't,
disagree
bro.
with that though?
If it
Do
was
you
still like
disagree that
that, if it
voting
was
is a
still, but
privilege?
wait, hold up, hold up. If it was still like that, you are an immigrant. You shouldn't even be allowed to vote then.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, and what?
Then,
And I
then
mean, I'm not an immigrant, but okay, and
you're not
what?
an immigrant.
No,
Your
I'm
parents were
not.
immigrants when they got to this country. Back then, if
Am
you
I?
were an
Am I?
immigrant getting to this
Even if
country
they
from
were,
South America, you weren't able to vote.
even if they were, or they're not, what the
Americans will
fuck
be
that got to
voting
do
for
with
you.
me? What does that got to do with
Okay,
me?
like, Americans will have to vote for you, and you'll be basically like a woman. Vote.
What the fuck are you talking about? I'm not an immigrant. Now you can say whatever you want about my parents, but even if they are or not, it has nothing to do with me. I'm not an immigrant, so therefore I can vote. I mean, I don't know what you're going on about. Okay, let's just move on from that shit. But again, to me, voting is a privilege. Do you disagree with that, or do you think voting is something else other than a privilege?
This is a country where freedom was fought for by women and men. Privilege.
I mean, honestly, this country, anybody can vote in reality as long as you were born here.
Yeah, that's a fucking problem to me.
It's
But
a privilege. It's but that's the
The
thing.
privilege in
That's
other
the thing.
countries.
It's a privilege, yeah, but in reality,
But we
you
don't
can
live in a
just
communist country. We live in a
exactly.
yeah, but I
Sadly,
mean,
free
we do
country.
live in a country
the
like this. If you want to have a country that doesn't let everybody vote, you want to go to a communist country at that point.
yeah, but
The
even
point of a
then, dude, like the beginning of this country was not a communist country either. But men couldn't vote either. It was people who
Men
were
could vote. The only
no, they
people
could
that
not.
couldn't
They
vote,
couldn't vote.
the only people that couldn't vote was the African Americans.
No, men could not vote. White men also could not vote. The only people who could vote, and they couldn't vote rather, because they were just representatives, were people who owned land or stakes in land at that time in place. Most men, majority of men, could not vote. The only again, actually no, sorry, no men could vote. It's just representatives that were in place because they had land or they had power of some sort, and then they would put the president in his seat. Like this whole voting thing being something that's always been this thing that we've always had, and it's a core tenet of freedom. It hasn't been this way. This is a more modern way of thinking where, voting is this thing other than privilege. Was why I
Because
asked
we're
you.
modern times.
I mean, what, dude?
but
That's
Matthew,
again. Wait.
mm,
Do you believe that voting is something other than a privilege, though?
Dude, any country that has voting is a privilege.
So with it being a
Because there's
privilege,
countries that are communist that do not have voting.
so you believe that voting is a privilege, then you agree with that?
For a free country, yes.
well, there is communist countries out there that actually still allow votes, but it's just corrupt.
It's
in reality.
corrupted, yeah.
Yeah, they have
So
a very good privilege, don't they? But either way, again, do you believe that voting is a privilege or it's something different?
I mean, it's a privilege. Yes, it is because I mean, I am, for example, me. I am blessed to be born in this country. I thank God I wasn't born. Not to come at anybody crazy, but I'm glad I wasn't born in a country like Cuba, Nicaragua, like those countries. Like I thank God I was born here, right? And that's basically a big advantage where I can vote, freedom, all that, right? So I would say it's a privilege to be born here. I'm fortunate to be born here, so yeah, it's a privilege.
No, I understand that you believe it's a privilege to be born here. Do you believe it's a privilege to vote? Like it's a
Said
privilege.
yes.
Yeah, it's a privilege. Yeah, it's a
Okay, so
privilege for sure.
considering that it's a privilege to vote, that would have to mean that this privilege is granted to people based off of some sort of I guess, deserving of this privilege, right? You have to deserve a privilege. You have to earn a privilege in order for you to have this privilege. It's not just a thing that you're given because you're just given this thing. What is that thing that we do that is?
But why shouldn't women, taking the military thing aside, why else shouldn't they vote?
Well, no, that.
Are they not smart enough to vote?
No, I mean, I wouldn't make that claim. I think a lot of men are also very stupid, but regardless,
Okay, so
it's the war thing. That's the thing that I'm making the claim
so
about.
the only important thing is war.
No, I think there's a duty and a responsibility that men have, which women do not actually have, and that is the defense of the nation. I don't understand, or I would not. You can tell me one, but I don't think there's any other responsibility that is greater than the defense of the nation. Otherwise, there wouldn't even be voting if we didn't have anybody to defend our country. Some country
So
would overtake it, and we wouldn't have voting. We wouldn't have government. We would have a fucking socialist country, or we'd have a dictator, whatever the case.
all right, so Matthew, look at your average Joe like me, right? Personally, if I was to get, if I was to get, let's just say, right, I was to get drafted, bro, I'm not going to war. You better take me to prison, right? So does that mean that I'm not deserving of a vote because I didn't go to
Well,
I didn't go
dude,
to
if you evade the draft, you're gonna go to prison, and you won't be able to vote anymore. You
So
would be a
when I'm
felon.
saying I'm saying from now, like you already know my outlook. I wouldn't do it. So
Yeah, I understand
from
that.
now, you really so you think in your mind I shouldn't even vote if I'm not able to go and fight for this country, right?
I
With
mean,
your logic.
I don't think you should, but also, the law states that you wouldn't be able to because again, they throw you in jail, and then you also still wouldn't be able to
I'm
vote.
speaking as of right now.
Yeah, as
Mindset.
of right now,
You already know
if
my
a war,
mindset.
yeah, listen, bro, as of right now, your mindset being you would not go to war, you'd rather go to jail. As your mindset right now, if there was a war that would pop off today, and they needed bodies, and they chose you, and you decided not to go, you would be thrown in jail, and you at that point would lose your privilege to vote, bro. That's just how it works.
Matt, but he's not saying if there's a war right now. He's saying knowing his mental state, knowing that he said, I am not going to war if they draft me. Right now, do you think he has the right to vote?
Well, you do have the right to vote because of the fact that you are, or rather, you have the right to vote as anybody else does. Because at this point, or sorry, you have the privilege to vote because at this point it's not a privilege anymore. Everybody has it. But
No. But I'm talking about in your world,
that's what I'm saying.
the way
That's
you're
what I'm
talking
saying.
about
Yeah,
it.
that's what I'm
Oh,
saying.
in your world, would you think I have the
The right.
would I be eligible? Would I be eligible to vote, even if you already know my mindset, knowing that if I was to get chosen go to war, and I already know that I am not gonna go. I rather serve time, right? Do you think I should vote in your world
Look, bro.
right now, with my mindset?
I'm gonna keep it real. In my world where voting would be how it is, where it's a privilege, this world would have some sort of logic in it. And logically speaking, if there was no war, but you had your mindset that you didn't want to go to war, bro, I wouldn't fucking know that unless there was a draft and I drafted you and you fucking said no. You know what I'm saying? There would be no way for me to know that shit. So if there was a
No,
war,
but I'm giving you my mindset now. I'm telling you right now in your world. You already know from the beginning. I tell you, you know
bro,
what?
you're
Straight off
still
the bat.
you're still eligible to be drafted. Now, if there was a draft,
No,
regardless
no,
of
but
bro, regardless
but
of
I'm
your
saying
opinions,
with my
bro.
mindset right now,
Yes,
my
I
mindset.
understand that. I understand that. Regardless of your mindset, regardless of how you of your opinions or your thoughts or whatever the case may be, there hasn't been a draft to where you would have to say yes or no. Now, that's the moment that decides it. If there was a draft and you said no and you evaded the draft, you'd be thrown in jail or given a fine, and at that point, you'd lose your right to vote. I don't think because like you said some shit or you feel like you believe some shit or whatever the case that you should automatically be not allowed to vote because regardless again you're still subject to the draft. Now if the draft were to happen and you would evade that shit, then you would lose your right to vote. That's just how it is. That's again with the premonition that voting is a privilege. I don't believe voting is a right. That's why I was
You want to
asking
know
you.
something, Matt?
That's why I was asking y'all if y'all thought voting
All
was
right.
anything other than a privilege. I don't
Oh,
think it's
you
a
know
right.
what's
I'm gonna tell
funny?
you this.
You know what's funny? I didn't vote. Just letting you guys know.
No, I did
Yeah, I know
vote.
that.
I'm gonna tell you this. I agree that what Matt says that when voting is a privilege, it's not a right. It is a privilege, and if men are the ones that are being sent to war when there's a draft, when there's a world war, they're the ones. Yeah, it should be like that. But what I'm trying to tell Matt, I agree with you, is that we live in a society today that we have adjusted for a very long time that women can vote. And we had this discussion at work that if you take away the rights right now from women, it's going to be really bad. If right now you took the rights away from every woman in this country to vote, how could the United States deal with it?
All right, I'll respond to this. So, um, the way that the way that the government would
I want to hear your
respond.
answer because
No, I'll give you the
I
answer.
laughed.
Number one, I'm sorry. I want to first touch on the fact that you do agree that voting is a privilege and not a right.
Yeah, it is a
Okay?
privilege, and
Yeah, it's a
dude,
privilege, right?
I'm
Yeah,
with
yeah,
you.
yeah,
I'm
yes.
with you, but at the same
No, yeah, I
time,
understand. I understand your
I'm
position.
like, damn, that's kind of fucked up.
I know it sounds harsh, right? But I want to give people this kind of understanding here that even at the moments of the suffrage of the suffrage movement of women and their fight for the right to vote and this that, and the third, where women suffragettes were out and they were protesting and this that, and the third, most women, when they were actually allowed to vote on whether they could vote, they voted it down. They said that we don't want the right to vote. We don't want to have to um, I guess lower ourselves to the fact of voting because they understood the entailment of voting. They understood that voting entailed that they would have to go to war, that they would have to participate in the tax system of the United States of America, that they would have to participate in the debt system of the United States of America. They were housewives who were at home taking care of the kids, raising the next generation of Americans, and they were fine doing that. They were happy doing that. But the very small minority of women whom wanted this right overpowered in their loudness and their screaming the people who didn't want it, which again was the majority. Women did not want it in the majority, to the point where they were like, you know what, women are continuing to vote this shit down. We're not going to put it to a vote anymore. We're just going to make it law, and they made it a federal law. So that's that. Now, when what you're talking about, you're saying we're living in this society today, and women can vote. I think it's the biggest mistake that we've ever made was allowing women to vote and this whole feminism movement and shit like that. George,
Why?
I really do apologize. Can you repeat your question to me one more time?
Oh yeah, sure. Okay, so right now the government decided to take away the right of women like to vote. They decided to take away that right from them, and the women did an uprising. What do you think the United States should do?
All right, bro. So, um, it, there could be two different ways to answer this question. So the number one way would be, how would the United States cope with women not being able to vote anymore? The same way that we did it before they were able to vote. It would still function the same way. If anything, I think we would function better. But either way, now, how would we deal with the quote unquote uprising of women and their big muscles that will come and overthrow the government because they are no longer given the right to vote? I mean, listen, women in droves believe that abortion is a very big thing that is important to them. When they made abortion to the state's level and they took it federally out, and some states banned abortion as well entirely, they did some hashtags on Twitter. They took their tits out in the streets and fucking painted some random shit on it. And you know what they did? They complained for a couple of weeks, and then they realized they could do nothing about it. Because going back to the biology of men and women, men hold the force doctrine of society. If men so decided that women were second class, not saying that they should not, before people take me out of context, not saying this is what should happen, but if men generally decided women can no longer vote, women can no longer drive, women can no longer be seen outside, they're in the house all the time. If men decided this, again, not me saying that they should, if men decided this, there is not a single thing women can do about it. If men
I want to
decided
ask
in
you
general,
something.
there's not a single thing. Go ahead.
I want to ask you something else because, bro, your answers are actually good. Um, bro, right now, in your perfect world, what would women be right now?
George, my friend, I apologize. You cut off right at the end there. Can you repeat it one more time?
Okay, in your world, like if you let's say you had the power to create the country, you had the power to make the laws and everything, what would women be doing right now?
So women would be doing the same thing that women did before they were allowed to vote. So what is that? I'll explain. Oddly enough, when women were, I guess, because women always had the ability to work as well. Funny enough, they work the same jobs today that they worked back in the day before they were allowed to vote, and even after, very close after they were allowed to vote, they still worked the same jobs. That is education, hospitality, secretaries, these type of things. The only things that changed were I think 2 jobs, and that's because of technology. But women worked the same jobs. So what would they do? They would raise children. They would raise the next generation of Americans. They would work in education, in health, the same way they did before. And yeah, that's what they would do. They would be the people who are nurturing the next generation of Americans. Yeah, that's your answer, I suppose.
That's it.
Well, I mean, what other virtue is there that is greater than nurturing and caring for the next generation of Americans or humans
What
in
would you
general?
do to the women that don't want to do that? That they want to have their rights and they want to do their own thing.
Well, I mean, what you believe to be rights, I would say are privileges. But let's just say, there are women who want to have these, they want to be boss babes or they want to be independent women or whatnot. These women did exist back in that time, considering there were suffragettes. They did exist. And what did they do? They worked as teachers, as nurses, as secretaries, as whatever it is they wanted to work as. They did do these things. Um, and and yeah, I mean, that's what they would do. Like if a woman told me, "Oh, this world that you're painting, I don't want to be a part of it." I mean, all right, bitch, go ahead and fucking work in the fucking in the cubicles or some shit. Go be a teacher. Go do whatever it is you go get a sociology degree or go get a gender studies degree. One of these fucking bullshit degrees. Go ahead and go to school. Go ahead.
All right, hold
I
on.
got no fucking problem with
Maddie,
that.
Maddie, you've been quiet. You're not gonna say anything, bro? I think you fell asleep.
I'm gonna keep it real with you. That boy probably fell asleep. Oh no, he didn't.
What happened?
Yo, you've been quiet the whole time, bro.
Yeah, 'cause you guys are just you guys are talking and making good points. I'm just listening to both
Who do you
sides.
agree with?
Nah, I don't agree with Matt, bro.
That boy sounds like he just came out of REM sleep, bro. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna tell you, he was on sleep mode. Look, I agree with Matt just because he is right about the military thing. Um, and I told Matt this. I mean, I had to do some points there and argue with him a little bit just because I was trying to back up Jimmy. But um, when we went to go vote, I had to explain to my girl what each party was, who, what they represented, because she didn't know. A lot of
Well,
women
that has
vote
nothing to
just
do
on
with gender. That
feelings.
just has to do with
But no, 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 no,
personal.
no, no. Listen,
Sorry,
a lot of women.
sorry to interrupt, bro. George, there's men that don't know what the hell's going on either, bro.
Yeah, I know, I
It's
know,
not
I know, I
about.
know. But listen, there's men that don't know what the hell's going on, but I'm based on feelings. This election proved it because Kamala Harris said, I'm gonna take back, the rights from the states to allow abortion." She first of all, she would never go into that. That was never going to happen. She couldn't do that. And women just said, "Yeah, abortion is more important than groceries. It's more important than gas. It's more important than a World War III. It's more important than anything." These women didn't give a fuck if we were going to World War III. They didn't give a fuck if we had to work more hours to be able to afford a rent or food or gas or anything. They didn't care. They just wanted their options. And the country never took away abortions. They just gave it to the state. But they said, no, Trump is taking away our rights. That is why I'm saying women vote with feelings. Not all women, most women vote because of their feelings. They don't vote because of common sense. That is why I'm trying to say I agree with Matt because of that. I had to experience it. I saw there's multiple videos on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram of women freaking out and they shave their heads. They are not having sex with men anymore. I mean, they were never having sex with men anyways. Most of them were lesbians. They were, I mean, some of them were unfuckable. So they're already like not having sex. So they said no more sex. The 4B movement, that's what they call it. Shaving their heads, tattooing on their fucking foreheads, their arms, everything like, oh, 4B or whatever. And also wearing bracelets to know who is a Trump supporter and who is not a Trump supporter. So there's a bunch of bald women around, walking around with blue bracelets on and tattoos on their foreheads and their fucking arms saying 4B movement on it. Now, all this because of an election. There's people that took their lives. Women took their lives because they thought that their rights were gone just because they lost an election. See, it's all because of feelings.
Okay, so you guys hear me, right?
Yeah, we hear.
All right. So I get what you guys are saying. I get what you guys are rapping about, right? So my thing will be is, right, let's just say you guys let's say let's say what Matthew's saying, let's just you know, let's just say it's facts, right? Okay. You realize that you saying that women shouldn't vote really goes against the Constitution and our national anthem, what we stand for from the beginning. You guys do realize that, right?
It doesn't go against the
Go
national
ahead
anthem
and
because the national anthem has been there for a very long time before they could vote.
Well, the national
go
anthem,
ahead and
The
the national
Constitution,
anthem.
they added it. They added it to
Well,
the
the national
Constitution.
anthem just say one nation under all.
Let him
Say
say it. Let him say it.
the national anthem says one nation under all, right? It does not say women are an exception,
One nation
right?
under God, bro. Under God.
Yeah, under God, right? And it says, or wait, come on. There's a part where it says, damn, where's the part where it says, yeah, one nation under God. That's all. That's all of us, right?
Right.
That's everybody. It doesn't say men are the only ones that
Yeah,
you know.
one
it's-
nation under God, where women and men can vote. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. So when you guys say women shouldn't vote, that would really go against everything in reality.
How would
Right.
that go against everything?
Because we did this country, everybody mattered, right? There's women in Congress. There's been women in Congress since the beginning. Well, there's been women in Congress for a very long time. We can agree on that, right?
Listen, I'm gonna keep it a buck and a half with you, bro. Them slaves didn't really matter when the country was made, bro. I'm gonna keep it real, all right? And women, I mean, if you think that being able to vote is an entailment of mattering, them women they matter either, bro. If that's the case, shit, men didn't even matter, bro. If you think voting is the idea of mattering in this nation, bro, they didn't matter because there was no voting back then.
No, I don't look. I'm gonna be honest with you. And I'm gonna keep it 100 with you guys. I didn't vote. I think voting is overrated, right? Most
What?
people, and wait, statistically, bro, most people, like, I'm gonna say most. I don't know what percentage it is. Don't quote me on this, right? But there's a big majority of people that when they vote, they don't even know what they're doing. They're just going out there. They vote the president. Everything else, they just check whatever looks good. Most people do not know what they're doing. We can agree on that. Most people do not, right? So we want to bring up the whole thing about women being emotional while voting, right? Blah blah blah. But I could relate that to men as well. Men are stupid as well. Some men do not know. I could tell you multiple people, like friends of mine, that they can't even tell you what the separation of the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. They can't tell you differences. They're just lost. They just go with what the media says. Oh, Trump wants to do this. He wants to deport people. They just go off that. Oh, my parents are immigrants, right? So I'm gonna vote for this guy because or this person because of this, right? They don't know in reality what's going on, what their plan is. Everybody just kind of goes with what Instagram posts, Twitter. Oh, he said this on Twitter. Who won the debate? Well, who sounded better, right? Let's be honest. The average American does not really dive deep into these people. They do not. And if you say they do, bro, it's not factual. There's no way you can tell me that, right? And George, you stated it. There's multiple, and it's not just women that are doing all this whole, my rights are being taken. Men are the same way, bro. I've seen multiple videos of men saying the craziest outlandish things for no reason. And it's just like, bro, the election shouldn't really define your life. Whoever wins at the end of the day, you go back home and you live your life. We can
can
always
I tell you
go.
something?
Yeah.
Most of the people that are like that, the way you described that they don't know what they're doing, are Democrats. Because
I'm not gonna really.
Republican.
I'm not gonna really go ahead. I'm not really
does
gonna
their
go ahead and
research.
say. Well, I don't know. I can't really tell you much about that because I don't. So if you're saying that, I will have to fact check. But one thing I can tell you is, I think both parties, and that's a whole other topic that I won't get into. But I'm gonna just say it for right now. I think that whole party thing is a big it's a whole thing to just divide people, bro. It's a whole thing to just say these people that say this, but there's people that voted for Trump, and they're Democrats.
Yeah, no, that's true.
You know what I'm saying?
But they did their
So
research. They
Bro, you'd be
found out that
surprised, George.
Kamala
You'd be
Harris was
surprised.
just an idiot.
Some people, look, and this is another hot topic I can say. Some people just vote
Yep.
on a man because of religion. All right. And if you really think about it, we should actually not vote just because of religion. There's unlogical things that presidents and Congress can do that is unlogical. There's things they can do that put religion to the side, or with religion, it's things that don't even make sense, but because they believe in a certain God that you believe in, you're gonna vote for them. And that's another problem. People tend to bring up and mix up religion in politics all the time. And that's an issue, right? Back to what we were talking about with what were we talking about, women, right? About women voting, right? Once you talk about women voting, right? If these law, I would say, right, in Matthew's perfect world of women shouldn't vote, right? Yeah, bro. In this perfect world, right? If women shouldn't vote, right? That means that laws shouldn't apply it shouldn't apply to them. The laws are equal to both men and women, besides the whole thing of the military.
Yeah,
right?
but bro,
Which at
but
the end of
bro,
the day,
bro,
at the
that's
end
a
of the day,
big, that's
women
a
are in the
big,
military.
bro. That's a big fucking
No,
thing,
it's
bro.
not. You're
Having to
literally
be forced, bro.
bro.
Having to be forced, right? You have no
Bro,
choice.
it's not as big as you think.
Bro,
I don't, bro. Clearly,
dog.
you want to go to war, my guy. You want to sign you up? I can sign you up, bro.
Bro, the point, the fact is, bro, you are
I'll
subject
sign
to
you
a
up, bro.
draft. If anything were to happen and we were getting into a war, you'd be subject to that
Bro,
fucking
I'm not
draft,
going to
bro.
war, and I just told you right now.
That's
I'm
fine.
not going to
You
war.
go to
Don't think
jail.
every
That's
man.
great. You're either going
Look,
to jail or
every
you're going to
man.
war, bro. That's a pretty shitty fucking decision to make. Regardless, again, the whole idea is
So it's a bad decision of me not going to war?
Bro, the whole idea is that you have a responsibility, therefore you have the privilege to vote, bro. That's the whole
Bro,
idea.
I didn't go to jury duty, bro. I'm not going to war, bro.
As to what you were talking about with George about the fact that dudes are dumb as well, and it's not just women being dumb and shit like that. That's fine. Number one, that's why I told you only people that are subject to the draft should vote. That would eliminate that whole problem. But even then, this past election that just happened, bro, women's two main reasons for why they were voting for Kamala, or why they were voting the way they were voting, is because of abortion and immigration, or democracy. The two main reasons men were voting for, or the reasons that were pushing them to vote for a certain candidate, was inflation and immigration. To me, objectively speaking, those that men were voting for, the reasons why men were voting were a lot more serious than the reasons why women were voting, bro. I'll be honest. All right, if we're going down that road, women vote a lot more selfishly than men do, bro.
Not every woman is like that, though. That's the thing. You guys are.
No, I understand that, but
you guys
as
are
we
just
see
basing
from,
it on the videos
bro,
you guys see on TikTok about certain
that.
girls.
I understand. I'm not saying
Look,
every woman's
I wanna
like that,
interject.
but majority of the women who were voting and majority of the men who were voting, majority of the men who were voting for shit that was important. Majority of the women who were voting.
No,
were
I'm not
voting
gonna
for shit
say
that
that.
wasn't.
There's no statistic that
Bro,
states that.
of
You're just saying
course
that because
there
of what you
is.
see on
Of
social
course
media.
there is, bro. Of course there is.
There's no
No,
statistic.
no.
You cannot prove that.
I can
wanna
literally
say
send you the statistic. I got no
Matt,
problem with
you're
that, bro.
wrong.
So you're telling me that
There
they
was
already
a
did
lot of women.
they already did the
There's a-
poll of what did men vote for and what the women vote for. Like, no, bro.
Yes,
There's no way you
they
can
did.
prove
Yes,
that.
they did the
Matt,
surveys,
you
bro.
can't say that. You can't say that.
Why can't I say that?
Did research and they did vote Trump. More women voted for Trump.
Yes, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about who voted for who more. I'm talking about the reasons women were stating as to why they were voting, however they were voting. The reasons they put, majority of the two main reasons women put were abortion and democracy. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, let's just say that. But if what George just said, right? It supports the fact that more women voted for Trump than they voted for Kamala Harris. So that defeats what you're saying, bro.
Yeah, no, more women voted more for Kamala Harris than Trump, especially the young women. Especially young women. Young women.
Well, I don't know. That's what George said.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
not, I gotta fact check that.
I don't know where George is getting his numbers, but especially
A
young
lot
women.
of women voted. I'm not saying
I'm not.
most
Yeah,
of them.
I'm not.
saying
Yeah,
a lot of
but why?
women
But why
that
would it
voted
matter?
for
Why would it
Biden
matter,
voted
bro?
for Trump.
Why would it matter that a lot of women voted for Trump? Cool, that's fine. A lot of women did vote for Trump, but more women voted for Kamala than they voted for Trump. More women,
Oh, that is true.
especially the young
one
women.
thing I can say is there's we can all agree on this. It's facts. There's more women in this world than there is men. And the simple fact that Trump won just tells you that there's logical women out there that didn't just vote for Kamala Harris.
No, it tells me that Catholic men actually got their fucking shit together and voted for Trump.
May I say something?
Yeah, buddy, go ahead.
I also believe the whole reasoning behind a lot more people voting for Trump was within the whole, just within the campaign itself, regardless of whatever each party was claiming that they would do once given the power of presidency, that you saw on the Republican side, Trump and JD Vance going out there doing rallies, helping the community, building communities, doing things for the people like they said they would, like we saw in his last presidency, which is what people want to see. He makes promises and he's kept them. Sure, like everybody else, there's sometimes not everything you can get passed through Congress or Senate or the House. So of course there's going to be certain promises that they make that unfortunately the people don't let them, follow through with. But at the same time, with the whole campaign with Kamala Harris, she spent billions and billions and billions, not millions with an M, billions with a B, as in Bravo, on campaigning with celebrities. Which, number one, I don't know about you guys, celebrities don't mean shit when it comes to political campaigning because they're a person just like you and me. Only the fact that more people have seen them than me, and they get paid a lot more than us. And the fact that Trump and JD Vance are out here with the communities, with the people, they're not out here dancing or changing their ethnicity or their language or their accents uh every other state they travel to, or reciting the same uh what's the name same prompt in every state they go to. That's what the Democratic side saw was doing, and a lot of people were able to see that. Yes, we've all seen the videos and TikToks all over, and videos all over social media about why are you voting for Trump, and the person explains A through Z, correct? And then you see the same person ask a Democratic voter, why are you voting for Kamala? She's a woman. She's a black woman. Okay, what has she done in her years of working in the government and this and that? That you like, she's the first black woman. And it's like, that's not a valid reason. But then you see the people ask about the Trump and JD Vance supporters, and they're like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then people have been able to see that because, and I don't know if you guys know this, it's a proven fact. When a lot of these Democrats have been given presidency, and those who support them, Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, all of these Democratic Party representatives and people that have power, they've all gotten richer. Nancy Pelosi came out $200 million richer under the Biden administration. Biden went up millions of dollars. Same for Kamala Harris. Same for all these Democratic representatives. What happened to Trump? He lost $3 billion. Why? Because he's spending his own money from his own businesses for the American people, which is what people have been able to see. That it's not just, oh, I hate Trump, because that's what the social media does. It manipulates the weak, closed-minded people. Um, that, oh, Trump's the enemy, Trump hates this, Trump hates that. And like you guys were saying about the whole abortion thing, that's why women were voting for Kamala, because she's giving you she's going to make it legal everywhere. Here's the thing. And then women are like, oh, we hate Trump because he wants to take away abortion. It's like, I can't remember, I believe it was Matthew that said it, or George, uh, that he's not taking away your right for abortion. He's giving the power to the state. So how can you get upset at a man who's in charge of our country giving the power to the state? Who they should hate are the other men and women, mostly the women, who are voting no for the state on abortion, because you're not going to get mad at the team captain when when he's giving the power to the other players he has on his team. That's the most ignorant thing that and closed-minded thing I've ever heard, which is why a lot more people were able to see that, because unfortunately social media, the news, all these media platforms are painting him as the enemy, saying this and that, when in reality the Democratic Party is a lot close-minded and very easily manipulated. I'm sure you guys had your fair share of, or maybe not, when it was announced that Trump had won the elections. I don't know if any of you have any friends or family members that did not vote Republican or did not are not part of the Republican Party that they sent messages. We all saw the videos of people having mental breakdowns, crying, and cutting people off because of that. And I think that's what's very sad, that a lot of people are so manipulated and brainwashed on political views when at the end of the day, that's how your life is going to be under that power for the next 4 years. If you feel something about it, that's why you have the right to vote. That's why you have the right to speak, the right to vote, right of petition, freedom of petition. You have the right to do that. But unfortunately, and it's very sad that probably 50% of this country is so close-minded on what the news feeds you. And I don't know, I'm sure you've all seen the videos that they take of Trump out of context. But then you have Trump supporters, his chairmans and everything, that are like, no, play the whole video. And then as soon as the news station plays the whole video, people are like, oh damn, they've been feeding us lies. Oh shit, what are we supposed to do? We don't want to, we want to keep getting our money from the Democratic Party on the low. And that's what the sad reality of this situation is, because a lot of people are misinformed and easily manipulated when all you have to do is sit down, watch a video, and understand the right from the wrong. Because what did Trump do with his money? Gave it to the communities, did campaigns, held massive, amazing rallies. What did Kamala Harris do? Blow $20 billion that all these people gave her, and now she's in debt.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, bro. I think people are just sick of the bullshit at the end of the day, bro. It's the same tired bullshit we hear every single 4 years. We hear the same thing from the Democrat Party, and they provide us with the same level of horse shit that they always do, bro. And we saw it with Biden. People got sick of it. People saw this shit. People were affected by this in their actual lives. They felt this change, and they were just sick of this shit, bro. They were done, and that's why Trump was voted in. But again, as I said before, women, and I'll show the charts to Jimmy if he wants them. Women voted for Kamala Harris more, and when you look at the reasons why they voted for abortion. Women were outstanding in voting for abortion way more than men were, and same thing
Well,
with that type of shit. But regardless, this election was just a wake up call to the Democrat Party, bro. That's how you can describe this shit, bro. Just a
A
wake
well,
up
hundred
call.
percent.
wait,
And may
wait.
I say one more thing?
Go
Yeah,
ahead,
go
go ahead.
ahead, go ahead.
I'm sorry to cut you off, Jimmy. It's just going to be
You good,
real
bro? You
quick.
good? You good,
Yeah,
bro?
go ahead.
I did see a post from a person I follow on social media, and I would like to know you guys' opinion on this real quick. He says, if a man doesn't want the responsibility of a child, he goes to jail for not caring for the child, both um, loving, nurturing wise and financially. But a woman's, if she doesn't want the responsibility of a child, she has an abortion. So a man that just doesn't want the responsibility of a child, and he walks away, or he just leaves the woman with the child, he goes to jail for years and gets fined and has to pay child support on top of that. But a woman can just go to a doctor and unfortunately have that child murdered inside of her, and she goes about her day to do it again. What do you guys think of that? Is it true, or is the system completely screwed up in that manner?
Um, I would say it's a pretty like I would say that topic is very what's the word yeah, it's a sensitive topic for sure because I see both sides. You got me? I see both sides in multiple ways, bro. For example, a woman gets raped, right? You know, I think
Bro, SA, bro.
yes, a woman gets raped, right? That's a
Yes,
whole
thank you. Good job, good job.
that's a whole complete different scenario, bro. It's kind of like why would you want to birth a child that's a
Going
product
to
of that?
remind you of something traumatic for the rest of your life. I agree. I 100% agree. But what a lot of this population of both men and women do, if you're mature enough to have sex unprotected, she's not on birth control, or she doesn't have an IUD, she doesn't have any type of contraceptive, and the man doesn't wrap his tool, everyone from the moment before you even hit puberty, you understand that if a man has sex with a woman, she gets pregnant. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
not a lot of the times if there's complications in the reproductive organs, but you get pregnant. And if you don't want that responsibility, then you're not mature enough, or you're not of sound in mind to have sex. Yeah, I get in the heat of the moment, things happen, but at the end of the day, if I know if a man does his business and a woman gets pregnant, you're both understanding responsibility from the moment you start doing it to the end, because everyone thinks it's easy as going to CVS or whatever, paying $50 to prevent you from having a child. But in certain situations, I'm pro life. I am. I've been that way my entire life, and I will always be. But I do, in certain situations, believe it should be necessary. But if you're just, if you're just messing around and you just say, "Oh, you know what? I was just fooling with this guy. He's not a good guy. This and that. I don't want to have a kid. I want to keep living my life, and I want to keep messing around with other people." And then you do it. That's where it's morally wrong. Because, like I said, if a man doesn't want the responsibility and he walks out, he goes to jail. If a woman doesn't want the responsibility, she unalives the child, and she goes on about her day. I that doesn't sit well with me, that we at the end of the day we have no say, because she can say she's going to work, or she's gonna go get a haircut, do her nails or whatever, and she's over there uh, having that happen to her, which is I feel is
Yeah,
very
bro.
heartbreaking on our
On
end.
top of that shit, bro, this is one of the top reasons that women gave for why they were voting, bro. Cooked, bro. Cooked.
I'm gonna say one thing. I'm gonna say one thing, and it's facts because I did my little research while you guys were yapping, right? So we were talking about how most women, right, voted for Kamala Harris, right, because of abortion, and it was a big thing, right? I have a thing here where they did a poll that it shows that Kamala Harris had won the support of 54% of women, right? Which was lower than President Joe Biden did in 2020 when he had the support of 57%, right? Let's just say that's 3% of women, which is actually a pretty big number. It might seem just 3%, but it's a lot, right? So what does that tell me? That you like people are led by what we see in social media. We see women crying, how can this happen, this and that. They've stripped our life, they stripped our rights away from us, this and that. But you see, by facts, we're going by straight facts. We're going by polls, right? There was less women supporting Kamala Harris than when Joe Biden ran for presidency. You got me? So that literally tells you not all women were voting for Kamala Harris because of abortion. There's
Okay, bro.
logical women out there.
I never said more. I never said all women were voting for Kamala Harris.
You said the majority.
You even said it yourself. 54% of women were voting for Kamala Harris.
No, you're not listening though.
Is that
You're
not
not
a
listening.
majority, bro?
No, no, no. Wait, listen though. But listen to what I'm saying. That not all there's a decrease in population of women voting for Kamala Harris due to, how can I say it, like, so less people, she lost basically more women than Joe Biden did. If you get what I'm saying. He had 57% on
Yeah,
his side.
I understand that, bro.
Kamala
But
Harris had
yeah,
54
I understand that.
54%.
But
So
regardless, you said it yourself, dog. The majority of women still voted for Kamala Harris, bro. Regardless of how many voted for Kamala Harris or Trump that voted for Biden, it doesn't matter. More women voted for Kamala Harris than voted for Trump. That's it. That's all you got to see, bro.
yeah,
More
but you
women.
just that but this thing tells you that that wasn't as big as a key point than you would think, the way people make
I
it
mean,
seem.
no, just based off the fact that more women voted for Trump now than voted for Joe Biden doesn't tell you the reason they voted.
No, exactly. That's
They've
exactly what I'm
actually
trying to tell
done
you.
no, they've actually done surveys and they've surveyed women as to what their main issues were, their top issues, and for women, the top issues for women in droves were abortion. All right, I'm just saying that. But either way, this episode is getting a bit long. If you guys want to give one final comment or statement about anything that you want to say throughout the rest that we were talking about throughout the rest of the show, you can this very moment, and then afterwards we'll wrap it up because again it is getting a bit long. So go ahead, guys. We'll start with George. Go ahead, George. If you have anything to
Yeah,
say, go ahead and say it, bro.
I just want to say, first half, it was Jimmy's first argument. I say it has to go to Jimmy. Second half of the thing, I have to go with a little bit towards Matt, and a little bit towards Jimmy because both of you had good points. And then that's about it. Other than that, I'm okay with everything else. It was a pretty good show.
Yeah, I think it was a good show as well. But now, Maddie, go ahead and if you have anything else to say, man, you can say it now.
Yeah, well, one, I want to apologize that I didn't speak too much. I was very intrigued and entertained on the different aspects and views that you and Jimmy had, which is I love that we had our first guest, which thank you again, Jimmy. And I was very intrigued to hear his opinion on your views, Matt, and George's views, and everyone in going together. So my apologies for not talking too much. It's like I was a it's like I was a viewer for an hour to hear his point. But
No, yeah,
what
buddy,
what I
it's completely fine. Listen, um, you talked a good amount. You know, obviously what you added to the conversation was still phenomenal whenever you did. So, yeah, I mean, is you have anything else to say besides that, or?
Yeah, and I just want to end with this, that regardless of any political views, at the end of the day, it's like you guys said, one nation under God, indivisible. That's one thing I wanted to say, but I didn't want to interrupt you guys. Indivisible. I don't know if anybody's aware of what that word means, but it means unable to separate. So, regardless of your political, religious, or personal views, we are one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we should all respect each other. We should all honor each other's opinions, views, and beliefs, and not separate this wonderful country and relationships with one another, regardless if it's family or people you've known for years or someone you just met, on these types of issues. But and one thing just to say real quick, to end this, is anybody listening to this, like I said, regardless of your political beliefs, religious beliefs, and any belief, don't listen to what the media shows you. The media gives you information to put you in a manic and a panic. They don't feed you the true story. They take things out of context. And I urge anybody, if you have your views on Donald Trump, on Kamala Harris, on any sort of figure out there that is trending or popular or in power, please watch full interviews, conversations, podcasts, interviews, and everything, because a lot of things are censored and filtered. And I want everyone to be open minded and not to close mind and not be as close minded as a lot of people are in today's society.
That's beautiful, buddy. I will say, but yeah, is that gonna wrap it up for you, man?
Yes, sir. And I thank everybody again, especially Jimmy. Thank you for being here. And I appreciate this wonderful, good conversation. And I love how, at the end of the day, regardless of how heated we may get in a conversation, that we all stick together. Excuse me. We all stick together. We're all still friends, and we all respect each other's opinions and views on situations and issues in this world.
Yeah, I still love you guys. You guys are awesome. Anyways, um, all right, Jimmy, anything you want to say before we cut off now?
All right, so yo, Matt, I have a question. What the hell did you choke on, bro?
I choked.
You
I
good,
choked
bro?
on the air.
You good, dog?
Yeah, I
All right,
choked on the air.
All right, just gotta make sure you're alive there, dog. All right, bro. I heard George laughing too. Um,
Jimmy's comment was making fun of Maddie, bro. That's crazy.
I ain't gonna buddy
nah, I just had
guy,
to call
bro.
that out. Choke on, bro. You gotta look out
Fucking
for
on
you, dog.
some dick.
All right, now. All right, wrap it up now. All right,
Yeah,
so I would say definitely good show. I I do think Matthew, not Matt, Matthew. Yeah, you're tripping
No,
balls, bro.
listen, bro. If you want to get the differentiation correct, um, the guy who just choked, his name is Maddie, right?
You can
My name is Matt. All right, bro. You want to get the differentiation correct? Do it fucking right, all right, bro?
So you're Matt.
I am Matt. He is Maddie. That's correct. All right. Just so you know.
Why
just
can't
so
we
you know.
just why can't we just do Matthew and Matt? Why make it such a? All right, but you want to be Matt? You want to be Matt?
Yeah, call me what I
So
want, bro. I'm a she her. All right, bro. Fucking use the right
all
pronouns,
right,
bro.
whatever your pronouns are. All right, you're definitely a little crazy. You're definitely a little crazy, bro. You know, for sure. You're definitely a trip, bro. Uh, my wife was listening to you the whole time. She thinks you're crazy now.
We all know that. We all know he's crazy.
Oh yeah, we know that. We know that. We deal with this at work all the time, right? But bro, definitely good show, bro. I appreciate you guys for inviting me, bro. Um, I will definitely join a couple if you guys invite me again. Uh, for some more heated conversations. Even though I wasn't heated, it was more you and George. You guys got into a little tussle there, bro. Right? But that's cool though, because at the end of the day, that's what it's about. The debate's supposed to
Yeah,
be a little
we
heated.
always that happens in every show. We get
Yeah,
into it.
that's cool though. That's cool because if you don't sound heated, you don't sound passionate what you're talking about, bro. This is nothing. You feel me? When you debate, bro, you gotta get down. You know what I'm saying so. Definitely good show, bro. I'm looking forward to joining another one, dog. And yeah, bro. Bless up to everybody. Stay up. Stay level headed. Watch your mental health. And yeah.
All right, yeah, that's good. All right, I guess I'll give my closing statement here. Um, First and foremost, I just want to say, for the last fucking time, Jimmy, mute your fucking mic, cuz.
Bro, I'm honestly not used to muting my mic, bro.
I understand that, bro, but I have to. This is like the 17th time that I fucking asked. Oh, whatever. Either way, bro. So I just want to say, Jimmy, you're like deep fried, bro. I don't even know what word to use for you, bro, but you're
Am I
absolutely
deep fried?
cooked,
How
bro.
am I deep fried?
Bro,
How am I deep
let me
fried?
bro. I gave you the fucking
Nah.
decency,
I need
bro.
to know.
I
No,
gave you the
nah.
decency, cuz, to
Nah, I
finish
don't want
your
the decency.
statement.
There ain't no decency on my side.
I
You're
gave
not
you
gonna
the
finish,
decency
bro.
to finish your statement, cuz.
Nah.
And this
We don't
man
bring
has to
decency
open
here.
his fucking
This
mouth
happens a
and
lot. This
fucking
guy's always saying
interrupt me,
fried.
bro.
We
Cuz
don't. But you can't just say I'm
look,
fried and just keep on. I'm
look,
not gonna let you just
Jimmy,
dirty my name like that.
Jimmy, cuz you called me. What the fuck? I don't even remember what you said. You just called me cooked or some shit. You called me crazy or some shit, man. Bro, let me speak, cuz. I let you finish. I let you speak. I let you go on your tangent, cuz. Be
Go
respectful.
on.
Let me finish, bro.
Speak. Come on, give your speech. Give your proud massage in the speech. Come
George, this one's for you, all right, buddy? Everything I'm about to say is for you, all right, buddy?
on.
So, listen. Jimmy, I just want to start out by saying to Jimmy, you're deep fried, you're pan seared, bro. You're steamed, you're everything, bro. All right, I don't even know what words to use for you, bro, but you're something above cooked, all right. Um, my girl was listening the same way your wife was listening, bro. To her, bro. You're cooked beyond belief, bro. But regardless, it was all jokes aside, it was definitely a phenomenal conversation. It's definitely a good episode, very entertaining, very fun. We would always love to have you back whenever you are able, whenever you want. You're always welcome back on the show, bro. It's very appreciated that you came and took the time to come and speak to us, man. It's very appreciated. And yeah, man. Again, I think I can speak for everybody when I say you're always welcome anytime, bro. It was a good show.
Yeah.
I hope everybody has a good day. I hope everybody who listened to this enjoyed it. Hopefully you come back for the next episode. But yeah, I hope everybody has a blessed day. God bless each and every one of you. Stay prayed up.
Goodbye.
All right, everybody have a good night, all right? George, everybody say goodbye.
Night, everybody.
Have
Bye.
a great night,
Night.
everybody.
I
Happy
hate you
Hanukkah.
all. I hate you all.
Matthew.
I
Maddie
hate you more.
choked on a dildo and a vibrator at the same time. All right, that's it. It's over.
And Jimmy
Okay,
lives with a
thank you
dildo and a
for that.
vibrator in his mouth.